Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, Red Pill Edition. This is, I call it my Wednesday night edition, right here on YouTube. And I'm going to make this live. It just depends on you all as the audience. Make it long or make it short. Now, before I go on, let me give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Teapot. I was on his channel. Good show. Shout out to my brother Matt Coley. Hopefully he comes up. I just dropped the link so anybody who wants to come up can come up because what I'm going to have tonight is an open panel, but I am going to discuss a couple of topics within this open panel. What's going on, brother Mel? Welcome. Now, the topics I'm going to talk about, they've already been talked about before. Shout out to Teapot. I've also done topics on this as well. I'm going to talk about the failure to launch syndrome. Now, if you're not familiar with that, failure to launch was based on a movie that was filmed in Baltimore with Matthew McConaughey, Kathy Bates, and of course, Terry Bradshaw, former quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that movie was about a grown child who really didn't want to leave home because he had everything done for him. Now, when it comes to today, I see that happening more and more. Children who are past 25 are living at home with their parents. Now, this is also going to tie into the situation about family. Is family overrated? I mean, what is the purpose of family today? Going to be opinions on that. Now, I also have a poll question. I want everybody to check out the poll question. The poll question is: should children move out of their parents' house once? I meant once, I put one accidentally, correction on the spelling. Should children move out of their parents' house once they reach the age of 25? Now, there are exceptions to the rule, and I'm aware of that. Some children have special needs. Oh, I got my first one. Welcome to the panel. How you doing there, Red Pill Rage? Can you hear me? Well, she might not be able to hear me. Hey, you're muted. Unmute yourself. You gotta unmute yourself. And also tonight I'm gonna be talking about a little politics. Um, Again, it's gonna be open topics as well. And I'm gonna make it more or less open topics because I want to hear what everybody has to say on some of these issues going on out here as well, especially the violence that's going on. Um, but family is part of it. I have to ask this question: when is it time to get rid of the grown kids? When is it that time again? I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Awesome Alice? Welcome to the chat. Now, again, shout out to Teapot, shout out to Matt, and shout out to Awesome Alice. She was also on that panel as well. Hey, Latin Patriot, welcome to the chat. I mean, this is to me a very big topic because this has happened during the last 20 years where you have a number of children who are living at home with their parents. And this all started with shout out to Brother Teapot. He brought it to our attention. Of course, I brought it to our attention as well. and I was this gentleman. I'm not going to reveal his name. Teapot can come on up and reveal his name because I was on his panel. And when I talk about grown children living at home, when should they leave home? Again, refer you to my poll question that I have. Should children move out of their parents' house once they reach the age of 25? Exceptions, special needs. 7 votes are already in. 57% said yes, 43% said no. The link is up if you want to come in and join the panel. I have dropped the link because I don't want to be talking all night long. Worked all day and got my brother Melly. Man, what's going on, brother Mel?
How you doing? How you doing?
Oh man, shout out to you, brother.
Mhm.
Uh, this is a topic, and maybe you can answer it. We're talking about the failure to launch system here. And what I mean by the failure to launch, we're talking about children who are living home with their parents for a long time, some of them past the age of 25. And also, is family overrated? Because what I see with family today is there are a number of moochers within families. Families believe that we're supposed to help them out because they say blood is thicker than water. What say you?
Yeah, well, there's one thing I noticed. If you got the kid living home for so long, over 25 years old and stuff, it sort of shows a failure on the parent side that technically you didn't prepare that kid the way you're supposed to for them to go up on their own and stay out on their own also too. It's one thing like, okay, you went through a temporary, mess and your family allowed you to move back home. So you get back on your feet and get back out on your own. But when you constantly allowing it for so long, it sort of shows a feeling on the parent. You didn't prepare your kid as much as you thought you should have to get out on their own in the world, even with their own struggles. You want your own and stuff like that, you
Right.
know. And I was watching a video with you ever seen that? You ever seen that recent Shaquille O'Neal video about how he admitted with his partner was divorced with his wife and everything. He said he doesn't want me and everything. And also, there's another part in that video he was talking about how he's giving his daughter, he's telling the guys how he's giving his daughter the reality game and stuff like that. About if you want a guy that got options and stuff like that, that everybody wants and stuff, most likely, he's going to exercise those options. So you want a guy that's, she was telling her you want a guy that's, respect you, respect him, but you could control. Got
Right.
cringeworthy at that part. But what really made me cringeworthy also too, when you said, you know, my son he got to move out when he's 18. My daughter, she can stay wherever she want, as long as she want. I may get the premises a little bit, but see, this is where this there's still a little feeling on that part also too. Despite if it's a son or a daughter, you overspoil your kid for so long, and you thinking just because one is more precious than the other and stuff, you might wind up spoiling that person, even if it's a son or daughter. So you're gonna treat one child different than the other. You're technically spoiling her more, and you're making excuses for it. I know some people, certain lifestyles do that a lot. Like when Skill was mentioning that, I had to, was like, he don't realize you're multi-millionaire with Shaquille O'Neal. Those rules that you're making, everything might work for you and with your kids and everything. But the down part of that also too is your daughter could become a super spoiled brat.
Facts.
Because you're not even pushing her to get her own. And I have to say this in a lot of cases, more the daughters are more prepared to go out on their own than the sons and stuff.
Well, that's because if they're coming from a single parent household, which is primarily run by women,
Them girls want to move
groom
out
their
fast as
sons.
possible for their mothers.
Right. The mothers groom their daughters, but
Mm-hmm.
more and more, I do see a lot of these sons staying at home. Now,
Exactly.
again, I, I was no different. I did a temporary stay at home with my mom when I was 24 years old, but I was moving from an apartment that me and my brother had because he didn't want to renew the lease. And I enlisted in the Navy and I was ready to go in the Navy. So what I did, I stayed in there and then I left home.
Hmm. And then there's another thing. I'm gonna get this little pushback right here with saying, okay, yeah, people can stay home long as they want, but then again, you still gotta follow certain rules now and stuff like that. Make your own rules. What's the old song that says, "God bless the child that got their own"?
Right.
I,
Yes.
I, I technically was kind of kicked out when I was 20 years old, but I chose to left anyway too. I had a dysfunction with my aunt. Never went back home since.
Now,
I jumped from place to place, but it's still my own. One apartment to another.
Now, Brother Guy King, which he goes by the name of Sigma America. Shout out to you, Brother Guy King. And shout out to Awesome Malice. Welcome to the panel. Good to see you up here. Now, Sigma American, my brother Guy King says people can stay home as long as they want, but need to pay rent if over the age of 23.
And
Okay.
that's my little pushback right there. And
Okay.
stuff. Because number one, why wait until 23? You need to teach them kids how to pay bills as young as possible. I will teach them as soon as I pay them allowance. You want to get allowance? Then I'm gonna teach them real world. They gotta pay taxes and everything, so they learn financial stability more and more. They teach these kids to live younger more and more these days and stuff like that. So you need to teach your kids the value of paying bills and everything, so they learn how to pay debts on time as young as possible and stuff. Two, like I said, yeah, like you staying with someone, yeah, you're trimming the rent, but you're not gonna have the same full freedoms as you got your fully own. It's your name, your piece, everything. I'm paying full throttle with my own piece. It's my own name. That's how I feel and stuff. I don't want to be living with someone despite I'm paying part rent, but it's still gonna be time. I want to be by myself in the household. If I can't walk around the house butt naked at a hard work week and everything, or have a lady friends over, we walking around the house butt naked because these are my rules, then technically I don't want to live at home. I want my own apartment or my own house where I can make my own rules whatsoever.
Facts. Well, we've also been joined by Awesome Alice. Hey, what's going on, Alice?
Um,
I got
playing with my
I
kids.
got to rinse you back up because your
I
name.
got a new channel.
Yeah, you might want to spam your channel and spam Latin Patriots channel. And I got to rinse you back up.
Well, Mel made a good point. Even with girls, um, yeah, they need to learn to get on their own too. I mean,
That's a good
like we
thing.
can't just we I think girls get babied too much. My daddy was hard on me. Okay, they wouldn't know because he knew what kind of world we're in. All right, so yeah, with girls, yeah, you be a little bit easier on them, but they still need to know how. Like with
Absolutely.
my dad, I still have to pay rent. I'm making sure we got food, like with the garden, the chickens, and everything else. And he is right. Like when you have kids, you start giving them allowance. They should learn how to pay bills. Now I never heard of a parent tax, but I think that's an interesting. What did he
Very
say?
that's
Yeah, because what did he say? He said something about taxes. Learn how to pay taxes.
well.
What's this, Mel? I just want you to break it down. What's this tax these kids got to pay?
Well, you gave it a name. I was just like, you know what? Just like when we work 9 to 5 and we pay a percentage, taxes and everything, you do the same thing for your kid. Except you know what? For the kid, you're just building a savings account for them. You even teach them how to, build up their credit behind that thing too. This and
I
stuff
know
like
you.
that. They do
I
that
know.
way also too. So you take a percentage out of their weekly allowance fund, make them
Right
actually work for it,
now.
and understand the value that you got to pay contributes to also too and stuff. But at the end, you're
No,
seeing rewards behind that also too. They're getting a form of use of paying bills and paying bills on
Right.
time also too.
Well, what about having a job? Should children living at home have a job even if they're in college? Because I know between 18 and I say 23 because normally children and this is just a generality here. Normally children are in college, so they're going to work part time and then they have to go off to college. But if you really want to put the whole issue together, then from my humble opinion, and Alice brought it up with girls because I do see a lot of girls sitting at home, and then the problem I have with the girls is they're playing on Facebook, TikTok, and Clubhouse, and they're not doing anything.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's another app.
Yeah, that's another. That's another app. I just heard
Yeah,
Man,
about
they
it.
got too many apps, man.
yeah, that came out during the start of the pandemic. A lot of
Yeah,
people.
I never heard of it. I think Mel mentioned it, and
Yeah,
Jay.
I heard of it. It's very that app is so draining. They in these clubhouses and hear people pair bond on
Well,
it got very draining,
well,
depressing.
Mel, that tax that'd be a good thing because like at the end of the year you get your what is that? At the beginning of the year you get your tax refund.
Yeah,
That could be a way for kids to fund their own Christmas fund. Hey, you're giving me
mhm.
some ideas, Mel.
Yeah.
You are, man. I
Well,
got two little ones. I'm like, how can we afford this if they want things? Yeah, yeah. You making me think about some good ideas. I
and you
appreciate
know
that.
what? You can even start your kid how to build their own credit history also too. Um, I say that in one of my Facebook on my Instagram posters. They don't know how to do it. I gotta re-look it up. But yeah, you can start your building your kids' credit history at a young age by you being an authorized user and stuff like that. And they start building their credit history at a young age. Teenage years. Getting used to how to use credit cards, how to use the bank's money to make money.
Shout out to Deacon. Shout out to my brother Deacon Dave and Alice. If you put something in the chat, I can wrench you up because you were already wrenched up and you did change your channel. Shout out to Cyber Tosin. Peace again.
For one, you got to be careful, man. Them community standards will burn your channel. Mine just went up in smoke.
What happened
We
to it?
I posted something and like I tried to get my channel back and they will not give it back. Like I tried to send them I don't know how many letters and they're just not gonna give it back. So I just had to start a whole new channel.
Yeah, I
But
got
luckily I was able to keep my name and everything
right.
and I have some of the stuff. I just don't have the live streams.
Oh, okay,
If someone
okay.
reported you, that's what happens.
Yeah, so just be careful with like some of the stuff that does come on your channel, some of the stuff you post. They're always changing the standards. So
Yeah,
keep
they
an
are.
eye on it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to Jenny V. Welcome to the chat. Um,
Hey,
we're talking about grown children living at home and family.
yeah, that's why I thought I'd drop myself in, give
Okay.
you a view of what it's like in England.
Okay.
Um, we don't actively seek to push our children out of the home for several reasons. Um, one is financial reasons because the housing market here is way more higher than what it is over in the States. For the price of a 2-bedroom property here, you could get a 4 or 5 bedroom property in America.
Okay.
It is very, very steep. And the only way we like to keep our children at home until they can be financially stable enough to leave. Now, by that, my two sons live with me. One's 26 and one's 27.
Okay.
Now, they
Now,
both work full time.
okay.
Um, I work. The way I look at it, it's just no different to a shared accommodation with people. But I
No,
know he can
no.
trust me. But hold on.
But go ahead.
But if he turned around today and said, "I want to leave," I'd help him pack. I'm not
Okay.
one of these mums who are keeping them home for my benefit. That's not the way we do it in England. We do it when, like I said, they've got enough money to put a deposit on a house. Renting here is even more sky high than what the buying is. So we will wait till they've got enough money to maybe put a deposit down, things like that. Excuse
Okay.
me. Anyway, yeah, the only way you would get affordable housing here is if your teenage son got another teenage girl pregnant. And then the government and the councils would all jump in and give them accommodation. They would get a 2 or 3 bedroom house with a click of a finger. And then you get my sons who have not got women pregnant, they haven't got girls pregnant, they've never brought trouble to the door, clean living, no drugs, nothing. The council will not even entertain giving them a property.
Now, what's the
You will.
council? What's the council's? Is it like the?
It's
I
like
don't know.
it's like a huge landlord. They own most of the properties in the area or the district you live in. It's like
Is it like HUD? Government
social
housing?
housing, social housing.
Government house, Section 8? We
Yeah,
call
so
it
it's
Section 8 here.
yeah. So if my sons put their name down for a property, they could be on that list for 10, 11, 12 years, not even get an offer of a place. But if they went out and got a woman pregnant or a girl pregnant, then they would get it just like this. This is the problem in England. You are getting hardworking young people then, hardworking, going out, getting jobs, keeping their nose clean, keeping their, doing everything they're supposed to do. But they're getting overlooked because you've got teenage pregnancies where they are being given 2 or 3 bedroom houses. So that is the prime goal for young girls here. And as sad as that is, if they know they haven't got what it is up here, they will actively seek to get pregnant so that when they leave school, they will have government handouts, they will have a 3 bedroom house, they will have everything they need. They don't have to pay no council tax, which is sky high. Again, I've got a 3 bedroom house and I pay £1,500 a year
Wow, that's not too. What's that in
Well,
America?
tax. That's
I have a
for
question. I have a
yeah,
question, Jenny.
yeah.
Do
Oh,
they lose it if
I
they get
Alice.
married? Hey, Jenny.
No,
Do they lose the funding if they get married? Because, like,
no.
in the States, if you are married, you cannot get anything. Okay? So, like, is it different there? Are they still helped after they got married? Or,
If you've left school, got pregnant, and you've been given a property, or even anybody who's been given a property by these councils, get it for as long as they pay the rent. As long as the government is paying their rent, or they get a job and they pay the rent themselves, that is theirs. No
does
problem, no
it, does it,
questions.
does it, like, if they get married, does it affect that? Because
No,
here, oh, so they can be married and
yeah,
get assistance.
yeah.
See, that's the difference from y'all in here. Because
Mm-hmm.
if the woman is pregnant, she can't have the man living with her.
That's
It's
fact.
different here. The only
Right now,
stipulation to that is if she's got it and she's on government handouts and she moves the man in, regardless of whether he's married to her or just living with her, if he's got a job, he has to, all her benefits would stop.
oh, 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 okay. And
So they
So,
gotta be unemployed to get it.
yeah,
sounds
to get
and,
on it, you will get the odd one or two who will get a property if they're very, very lucky. And that's usually in a case where maybe their parents are disabled and they have to be moved themselves out of a 3 bedroom house into a 1 bedroom ground floor apartment or bungalow or something like that, and then they have an obligation to rehouse any children living there. But
Um,
the only way, if you were married or say my son's age, the only way they could get a property is if they basically bought one, which is no way you're going to afford it, or you rent one, which is even more. The rental is higher than the actual mortgage, but they won't give a mortgage to say somebody 25, 26, unless they've got a high paying job and they've got something like £10,000 to £15,000 to put down as a deposit.
Wow,
So
that's
this is why we don't actively push our children out.
well here in
So I
America,
just wanted to make that, point.
right? And shout out to antisocial socialite. She also said Section 8 is like a housing association. The council is the state.
Mhm.
Your landlord is the area where you live. And of course, she's from Britain, just like you are, Jenny V. And shout out to big my man Nate Dog. Check his channel out, Little Big Nate. And also joining us on a panel is my man Teapot, Brother X. Open your mind. What's going on, bro?
Peace, brother Leon. Peace, everybody.
You got
I got a,
this is your
you know,
time.
I got, I got a lot to say about this because I
That's
talk
why
about
I
this a
brought you
lot.
on, bro.
I'm actually going to be talking about it tomorrow, so make sure y'all come in tomorrow. We're going to be talking about being grown and not on your own is the title of the show. So it's going to be
Hey,
good.
piggyback off me because we got a lot to say tonight. Shout out Free
Yeah,
Zone.
yeah. So this is the thing. See, it's a little different. All right. When you're dealing with us black folk, right? It's a little different, right? And and this is what usually happens, right? Now, if a woman, and this normally happens in a home where there's no father, okay? There's no father in the house. So if there's no father in the house, if a woman has sons and daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The daughter she'll kick out. She will kick the daughter out. She'll kick her out when she's 16, 17, 18, especially if she mess around and get pregnant. She mess around and get pregnant, right?
Right.
She may, if they get along well enough, she might let her stay if she have one baby. But if she mess around and have baby number 2, her ass is gone. Now, like I said, she'll kick the daughter out because, they have this competition, They have this competition between each other. Mom and daughter have a competition with each other in black society. Now, people have never copped to it, but it's a real thing. So mom needs to get the other vagina out the house. Because, see, mom and daughter get along well until daughter starts screwing and start liking boys. Up until that point, they're fine. But once she start getting with men and she start fucking,
Yeah.
it's not long before mom is throwing her the hell up out of there, especially if she getting more looks than mom. Okay? If she got more dudes at the door than mom. If she going out on more dates than mom. All right? It's not long before she's the hell up out of there. But on the other side of that, she will let her damn son live in the cellar till he's 45. Now, that I don't understand, because when you talk about girls and girls getting pregnant, that's probably when she needs her mom the most. But that's when she'll kick the daughter out. And meanwhile, the son is 40. He's still living in the cellar, and mom don't got a problem with it. And I'm telling you, why she doesn't have a problem with it is because, see, if she's a woman who's by herself, living with cats, plants, and a bunch of junk in jars, and there's no man there, see, mom wants to keep the son there for a few reasons. The first reasons is because she needs a husband, son. Second reason, she knows that her son is the only swinging penis that she can control. And number 3, once her ass get old, she needs the boy there to help out. Now, mind you, when you have this dude living in the house and he's 35 and he's 40 years old, now, usually what it does is it allows him to be shiftless, lazy, do nothing. Anybody out there who's listening, go back in your mind to a baby mama you know of 15 years ago, and she was a baby mama. Now, fast forward back. Guaranteed she got at least one 30-year-old son living in the house. Guaranteed. she's got at least one 30-year-old son in the house. Because, see, when there's a man living there, we ain't trying to let your ass live there till you 30.
Oh no,
Absolutely. Absolutely not. You're not living up
I,
in here.
like I said on your show, Teapot. I know when I went back to live with my mom, and I was just temporarily going to do it till I went to the Navy. And of course, when I relocated back to Maryland from Virginia, let me tell you something, brother. I thought I saw that star and that sickle because it felt like USSR in the house.
Man.
The rules, and my mom was making those rules up as she went along. And you know what she said? She said that's a method to my madness to try to get you out of here. The psychology,
Absolutely.
the psychology,
Absolutely.
it it
Absolutely.
it works. And I know I knew a dude who was 47 years old living at home with his mama. He was
Mm-hmm.
making money. He worked with us at PennDOT. And guess what he was doing when he got home? He was down there playing PlayStation. He wasn't giving his mom any money. He was he was bringing girls in and out of the house. See, some of these moms out here are very permissive too. I mean, some of these
Mm-hmm.
moms are smoking pot with
Mm-hmm.
their children. Some of these moms are even screwing their children's boyfriends. If
Oh, yeah. Well, see, brother Leon, that's the thing. The reason why these kids, all right, are the way that they are is because of who's freaking raising them. I mean, they've been conditioned to be this way because usually they have a mother who she's the product of an old baby mama too. So she's never had nobody instructing her about life, giving her discipline, giving her parameters to operate in. So she doesn't have any. So how the hell is she going to pass them down to her children? You can't teach people a language that you yourself do not speak. All right. It's like a Chinese speaking man trying to teach an Italian speaking man how to speak Spanish. You cannot teach someone a language that you yourself do not speak. And a lot of these women don't speak the language of responsibility, man. They don't
right now,
speak that language.
So, Teapot,
go ahead, bro.
Hey,
Go ahead.
little Alice.
hey, so they have the baby boy complex. You remember
Yes.
that movie Baby Boy? Where
Yes.
he had
Yes.
what? I don't know how many baby mamas he stayed
Yes.
home. Mama kept him there. So people are making their own generational curses, basically.
Right.
Is what you're
Yes.
saying.
And I'm a true
Alex, what we
believer.
call them is the sun's bins.
Yes. And
Yeah, I never,
Non-husband.
I didn't understand what that meant, but I'm glad that I'm starting to understand. I thought people were actually marrying their husband,
Well,
not
you
their
have to.
husband, but their
ah,
son. Their son. I thought that meant that the mother had married the son because, like, when you say husband, that's like a
Well,
title.
well, what it is, Alice, it's like the son is the man that the mother wish she had. Now, sometimes that goes the opposite way, where she's on that son. She wants to get him out there because that son reminds her of the
The
dude
father.
that's correct. And now, antisocial socialite, and you all might want to and shout out to her. She says, "I don't think a kid who is working hard to get established should be kicked out." And brother Nate says, "Can't be a man in someone else's house."
Hmm.
That's fact.
Can I just
absolutely not.
Yeah, go
can I
ahead.
just
Go.
tell you about a story what's in England at the moment? A girl had a child at the age of 14, a little boy. She gave him up for adoption. She went on to do what she wanted to do for another 10, 15 years or whatever it was. She met a man, fell in love, got married, and guess what?
What's that?
She married her son.
What?
She
That's
found out afterwards that it was her son. They wanted him to find his birth mother, and they researched his back history and found out that they were in fact mother and son. They had to have the marriage annulled and everything. It was quite a. I don't know if Antisocial has heard about that one, but that's
Boy,
one last week.
Y'all are really hitting my topics tonight, boy. Because I
We'll be
talk
over there.
you you know me, boy. I'm always talking about the old Oedipus
I talked about it
complexities.
myself. The Oedipus complex. Yes.
See, that's why, that's why in America they did blood tests, like
We
to
don't do
see.
that.
Oh,
I think that'd be a good idea because, like, in Georgia, they do blood tests before you get married, and it's to find out if there's any relations or any diseases, and if the man and woman their blood will connect so they can have children. That's why they did the blood test because of that, so there wouldn't be incestual stuff going on.
Yeah,
Don't do it
yeah.
here.
yeah.
We can marry
But you
whoever we want to.
but you gotta understand. You gotta understand this. Like I said, I blame a lot of it on these old moms. Let's start there. Um, because you learn how to be an adult while you're a child, right? You
Right.
grow into adulthood, right? It's not like you wake up one day and you're an adult. It's something you kind of drift into over the course of time from what you learn, the people around you, your environment, all the things that you take in. That's what eventually turn you into said adult, right? So once you become said adult, physically, mentally, you cross a particular threshold where you want to strike out. Now, make no mistake, human beings are the only animals that actually let the kids back in the damn nest. I mean, out in the wild, once you out the nest, that's it. You
That's
don't get
it.
you don't get to come back.
No revolving
Come,
door.
parents will kick your ass. You try to come back into that damn nest. But humans actually let the chicks come back into the nest. And see, when you are a person, see, there's two different things, right? There's one thing if you leave, you may hit some hard times, something may go wrong, and you have to come back. I think the bigger problem is when you never leave. I think that's the bigger problem. You
And
look
that's
up and you're 35, 40 years old, and you're still down in the
and
basement,
and,
and
and
all you hear is boo, because your damn bed is next to that damn old diesel furnace, flipping over every few
and,
minutes or so.
and that's why I call this teapot the failure to launch. And if anybody doesn't
Yes.
know what that movie was, it started Matthew McConaughey, Kathy Bates, and Terry Bradshaw, and they let that son.
Is that movie about what you're talking about? Like the
Well,
kids that never leave?
that is it because there are a number. Just like on Teapot Show, there was a 30-year-old man who sued his parents for kicking him out, and this happened in Syracuse, New York, back when me and Brother X got on YouTube. This happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
what?
he didn't want to leave. He did not want to leave. I mean, and his parents were like, "Come on, man," And
That
notice we're saying parents,
And he, yeah,
plural.
mother
that
and
means the mother and father.
right.
So basically,
Yes.
a lot of this generation, like I'm 36, so you're saying like the generation I'm in have entitlement issues, like a
Oh,
lot of them.
you're gonna find out a lot tomorrow because I got
They're
charts,
usually
graphs.
spoiled.
Yeah, I got charts, I got graphs, and how we are now in this state, in this state in 2022. More adult children are living with their parents than ever before. Right now,
Absolutely, and shout
ever
out to
before.
Well,
absolutely.
it's like my aunt, she's Spanish, right? All
Mhm.
her kids, like male and female, once they got to 18 and thought they knew it all, it's sink or swim. So I guess like being my aunt, she's from Panama, and the kids can't come back unless they're having a situation. She'll give them like 3 to 6 months, and then you got to go. Like you
Yeah,
going to build your money up, and then you getting the hell on. I
yeah,
need my
get out.
wine at 9 o'clock, and I don't need you in my
Yeah,
house. Like Mel said, she likes to run around butt naked, and you
You
ain't
can't.
about to change that.
Yeah, when you got grown. Listen, when you got grown kids living in the house, let's just be honest. Particularly, let's say if you're not married and you're dating. you can't run around butt naked. You can't. There are a
Yeah,
number of
you
there are a
can't
number
go
of
get
these
the Kool-Aid at
there,
not at
there are a
two
number of
o'clock
these
in the morning.
mamas. There are a number of these mamas that do that, and some of them are
Oh,
smoking. Again,
Can
they're
I
partying with
just can I
their
just tell
children.
you
Go ahead.
about a work colleague of mine, a female work colleague? She
Uh
was
oh.
dating a guy who lived at home with his parents. She's 40, and I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago. So she would have been about 34, and he was slightly younger. So he was around about 30. And she said that it was the worst nightmare she ever had. And I said, why? And she said, because his mother suffered with, I don't know what the medical issue or whatever, but she used to overheat. So she very rarely wore clothes. But when she said she very rarely wore clothes, I thought she meant like she wore loose fitting dresses or something like that. No, she wore nothing. She walked around that house like the day she was born, butt ass naked. She would come down to breakfast and she would be sat there with her boyfriend, and his mum would come and sit by her naked. And she said it got to the point she just didn't know where to look. And she walked around the whole house all day, 24/7, with no clothes on.
And that's why some of these moms, and I'm picking on the moms because they're permissive. Now, Sigma America says that's what that simp gets for falling for a woman 14 years older than himself. Now, I have a new person. I don't know this person. Tonio Bianasci, Italian. It is more difficult to get established in today's time. It is still doable. Now, me and Brother Teapot might have a problem with this, but we'll hear what she got or he or she has to say. But some folks are crippled by their parents. Also, my father is blind, and I've been driving him around since 15, 16. So I'm now moving back with my mother and sister. I look forward to living on my own soon if I can afford it. And Brother King, if World War III really unfolds soon, there will be a record number of adults living with parents and a total reshuffling of the considered normal. And don't forget, throw the pets in there too, because a number of these mamas got pets.
well, well, well. 411. You talk about the women. Yeah, you'll hear about more women running around naked around their kids than you will see men. And I think it's because of the tool down there. But it's like the women don't get it. The children don't need to be seeing us butt ass naked.
Well,
It's
Like,
because
no, I already know that.
it's because
Yes.
the women think that all their bits looks fantastic, whereas the men's,
uh
come on,
oh,
it just
well,
dangles there, and
it's not about like what it looks like. Those things
they
hang
think it's
too.
okay.
Like that's why we have boulder holders. They drop.
Well, there was
Yeah.
there was a show that I did, and my video is still up. It was called Smothered Mother, and that's when you're talking about. This is where the mother, or I call it the sister daughter syndrome, came to effect, where the mother and the daughter were actually in the shower rubbing up on each other, and
Oh
then
Lord
there was
Jesus.
there was a black mom and a black daughter. And the mom said she wasn't really afraid of it. She didn't mind being touched by her daughter. And I'm
Oh no.
believing that's borderline
That's
incest
the
right there.
that's Hills Have Eyes. That kind of reminds me of,
But there's a
or what
lot of
is it? Deliverance. I can hear the banjos. 411. I can hear
yeah,
the banjos.
but there's a lot of that coming up, and nobody but probably us and probably Teapot will be talking about it, because this is what's going on in this country.
Mm.
This is why we have
Oh yeah.
these
I never
levels.
even I never even took a bath with my sons, no matter what age they were.
Well,
Not even if they were toddlers. No.
but there are some of these mothers that are doing now. If a dad was taking a bath with his daughter, let's say his daughter
There'd be
was 6 years
issues.
old, then there's going to be a problem with that, and we already know
I
that.
I I think it should be an issue, male or female. To be honest with you, I think we're too lenient on the women, and that's the problem. Like
Yeah.
Women shouldn't be butt naked around kids, and men shouldn't be butt naked. That should be like a complete understanding across the board. But if you look at our media and everything, it's become sexualized. So it's like it's become normal to some people, and people don't realize, like, learning the boundaries. If you're around your kid butt naked, the child never learns the importance of privacy of one's body, like the individual, and when to be discreet and stuff like that. It just, like, it throws that whole thing out. And there's a lot of people that will go to people's houses and they'll say, like down south, they'll say, make yourself at home. Last thing I need to tell somebody, make yourself at home, and they start taking her, whoa, what's this, sir? Because I had a friend, I brought him home from the bar, right? And he was 3 sheets to the wind, Cooter Brown, gone. And I'm sitting in the living room, right? I said, you can sleep on the couch. Let me tell you something. My mama had a damn heart attack, y'all. He went into the bathroom because I told him, I said, make yourself at home. He got butt ass naked, went to the refrigerator now. My mama's sitting in the living room. She's watching the TV. She's seen the whitest ass she has ever seen because he was a roofer. Okay? And my mama started beating his ass with the broom. Get the hell out of my. He says, why your mama beating me? How did I lose my clothes? I said, your drunk ass that took your clothes off. He's like, your mama. My mama said, you go outside since you want to show me all your goodies. You're going to show the world too. She kicked him out the house, butt ass. Had to throw him a towel. But let me tell you something. Y'all got to be careful with people. Because at home, when you tell them that, I had to learn the hard way. Don't tell people
Well,
make yourself at home. Okay? Because you
well,
don't know what they're really doing at home.
well,
Yeah.
we're talking about when you talk about boundaries, right?
Yes.
That means, what does that mean? That means that you have established those boundaries early on while they're children, and because I believe children are like puppies, all right. And I always tell this story, right? Because I got a big dog in my backyard, right? And his feet are like the size of my fist, all right.
God.
But his feet have been that size ever since he was little. I mean, when I first got him, I could literally hold him in one hand. I mean, he weighed about 180 pounds now, but when I first got him, I could literally hold him in one hand. But he had these big old feet that he could barely walk with. But eventually, as time goes on, he grows into them. And I think children are the same way. You put those big feet on them, man, and you groom them, and they eventually grow into them. And what I think often happens is that a lot of these young folks never get those feet underneath them. They never get those feet underneath them to grow into. So they still walking around like puppies, even though they're 35. All right. I mean, they're 30, they're 35 years old, but they still operate like they're 15 years old, like they're 16 years old. Because
Yeah.
see, that's how they've been treated. That's what they've been taught. They never were given those boundaries. They were never given those feet. So they look up and they're 35 years old and they still operating like they goddamn 13. And I think the parents have a lot to do with that. They have a lot to do with it.
And
See,
that
me, I
stumps
didn't
their
have, yeah, I didn't have that
too.
luxury. Yeah, I didn't have that
Me.
luxury. When I was
Yeah.
a young kid, my old man told me off rip. He told me when I was like 9 years old, you don't like what's going on in this house, Negro? You get your ass out of here.
We get the hell up out of here.
Yeah,
It
he
sounds
said
like
that when I was
Hmm.
9. All right, forget 29. 9, my old man said that. If
it's
you don't
funny.
like what's going on
Yeah,
in here, you're
It's
back.
funny
yeah.
because
My pops used to say, my pops used to say, we can be friends when you out of my house.
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I heard that. It's funny. Everybody who had a dad, we all had the same type of role model, and dads are good at enforcing the rules because that's what
you
my dad told
goddamn,
me.
you're goddamn right. Cause your old man is not gonna put up with the crap that your old mammy do. He's
Be-
not.
Because
He's not putting up with it, and
my
he
dad,
doesn't care about your feelings. He
yeah,
can care less about your damn feelings,
I
man.
remember when my dad first made me change oil. Okay. Now, you get under the car, you're going to get dirty. All right. So he
Hmm.
was supervising me. So I took the nut off, let the oil drain, and the nut fell right in the oil pan. You know what my dad said? I'm not going to get it. You get it. and he
Yeah.
made me get down there and get it. And he made me change a tire. And see, that's another thing about some. And this is where I got to get on the men. I mean, I've seen men out here who can't even change a tire.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen men out here who, and just like Minister Jap said, some of these men out here, because they've been raised in this situation, they're going to be the ones planning weddings, going to baby shower. You watch,
Yeah.
some of this stuff is going to come up. I mean, men
Yeah.
are
They'll be
feminized.
sit they'll be sitting up in the damn baby shower. All right. And like you said, I mean, especially young dudes today, a lot of young dudes, like you said, they can't change a tire. I mean,
No,
a lot of young dudes can't operate a lawnmower. They can't handle a screwdriver. They don't know the difference between a 10 millimeter and a 3/8 wrench. They don't know the difference between a crescent wrench and an open arm wrench. I mean, a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
dudes, they just
Hmm.
don't know these things.
Well,
They don't know these things.
I had 6 brothers. I'm the only girl in the family. 6 older brothers and a father. And my dad taught me everything. I know how to lay a carpet. I know how to wallpaper. I know how to change taps, if we call them. I know you call them something different. Plumbing.
Taps.
Yeah. Faucets, is it you call them? Or
Mm.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. You can plug.
Uh-uh.
yeah,
It's the
plumbing.
taps.
yeah,
The only thing I don't touch is anything gas or electrical. I can do landscape gardening. I can change a tyre.
Mm.
My dad never let me take a back seat because I was the girl. So,
no, now, here's a comment that I want everybody to address, and it's Tonio Bianishi. I can't pronounce it, but I'll try again. Tony Bianishi. It's Italian. All right, and this is where I differ with older folks from previous generations. Probably talking about us Gen Xers, Brother X. A lot of things was
Probably.
just done plain wrong. Well, sure, our
What it, what it,
generation, Generation X, took the
what it,
brunt of everything.
yeah. What is Tonio Bianacci talking about? I mean, what are you referring to? I mean, because I know most Gen Xers that I grew up with, um, well, the ones who had dads, they're
Yeah,
dudes that can do things. I mean, these are dudes who can work on their own cars. These are dudes who,
right.
can landscape their own yard, wire up their own house, fix their own plumbing, pass their own roofs, build a deck in their backyard. Those kind of dudes is the
because
dudes that are
they
in my
didn't,
generation.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they
I'm in that
couldn't
generation.
afford,
Yeah,
to pay people to come and do the stuff. They had to do it
Yeah.
themselves. They were a generation where they had to do things for
and
themselves.
even we had to do the other thing too, because I mean I knew how to do my own laundry, and I know how to cook better than some
Yes.
women know how to cook.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Gen
Well,
Xers, we've had to do both roles. Shout out to Truism.
Brother
well,
Welcome.
Truism. I got
well, you
something
know,
special for you, brother, tonight. You need to tune in. I
Uh,
got something just for you tonight, brother Truism. Make sure
well,
you're tuning in tonight, 9 o'clock, brother. Go ahead,
well,
my
what
bad.
I found is like from living in the city and living in the country, a lot of the, depending on where they are, I guess because of the convenience of the city, and
yes.
there ain't no convenience in the country. Like the majority of men that are out here where I'm at, they know how to do everything unless they come from the city and move here. And you could tell they're like a fish out of water. Okay, the
Yeah.
ones that come out here because they can't change tires. They ain't ever seen a girl work on a car. You should see it when I work on my car. I have had people stop by my yard, and
You
these men be like, "What are you doing?"
you know
I'm like,
that's
what does it look like I'm doing? I'm changing the spark plugs and the oil and everything. I ain't never seen nothing like this. I was like, what
well, you know
do you mean, boy? What you doing?
that
Like,
is
you either gonna help me or you gonna just go to hell on because I'm busy.
but
But like, I think it has to do with like convenience because people have got so used to convenience
well,
and being able to just go out there and get somebody to do it. Now
well,
I have noticed like it even with the new little generation like me, I'm raising my kids, they know how to change a tire already. My 7-year old, he just turned 8, he can change the oil, he can change the tire, he knows how to do the brakes. I mean, I realized when I started seeing the older generation, like this new generation, that even the boys didn't know what to do. And it's sad that our society has became that. Because I had to teach a boy that was 21 how to change a tire. He was kind of embarrassed, but yeah, I mean, he was from the
Well,
city, came out here, broke down.
well, look at it like this. Being that your sons, I'm assuming they like what, like 9 or 10 or something. I'm assuming.
One just turned 8, the other one turned 11. So yeah, they
Yeah,
can do just about. They can
yeah,
fix a car if they needed to.
yeah. If they're 11, if he's 11 years old and he's already changing tires, he's
Yeah.
probably not going to be the son living in your cellar at 40.
No, he's already got
Probably,
plans. He already told me, Mama,
probably
when I
not.
turn 18, I'm leaving. He
But
said he gonna get his own castle because he don't like my rules.
well, you know,
Be-
that is true. What you said. There is a difference between city and country because
yes,
now this and I do a job out in Frankfort, Indiana, and I live here in Lafayette, Indiana, and I know people from the city. And brother X, I've lived in the city. I know you have too. I find that a number of individuals from the city have more conveniences, so they're not as self-sufficient. But when you're in the country, yeah, you have to do everything, whether you're a man or a woman. So when we hear the independent
absolutely.
woman, when we hear the independent woman, that's just nonsense. It's the self-sufficient person. Most people in the country have to be self-sufficient because they don't have as many resources as they have in the city. And
Because that's the only way they're gonna survive, brother Leon.
yes,
Like I was just saying about the son who can change tires at 11 years old. If you run into these guys, right? Like the guy we were talking about earlier, who's 40, still living in his mama basement.
Lawrence. Oh, yeah. You
Guy,
know
yeah,
when I heard
guys
about
like
that,
that, guys like that, they probably can't do anything else either.
and
If
he's
they're
not
still
gonna take.
living with mom and if they're still living with mom and they like 40, they probably can't work on their car. They probably can't fix shit in the house. They probably won't cut the lawn. They probably don't know how to do anything.
Because it's all
This
been
is
done
why,
for him.
yes. And
And he's
people will say, oh, well, he's staying with his mom to save money. Of course he's saving
man,
money.
we
God
don't
damn
do
it,
that.
he 40 years old and mom paying the mortgage, the lights, the water, the gas. She buying the food and probably buying his damn PlayStation games too at 40. Of course he's saving money.
And
He's
and that
40
guy
years old still living with mom.
and
And
that guy.
she buying the hot pockets too.
Oh, by
Absolutely.
and
What's
that
good
guy.
with it, brother? Free zone.
And that guy
Free
talk
zone.
about
Hold on 1 second, brother Leon. Brother Free Zone, you need to be tuning in tonight too, man. I got a little something special. Brother Altruism is the main character, but I had to stick you in there too. I gotta call my boy, Brother Supreme, because I got all of y'all in like this. Well, I don't want to give it away because if I say
that's
something,
what you
y'all gonna
guys are
know what it
talking
is.
about. Okay.
But
Uh-oh.
tune
What
in tonight, man.
what
Something
time?
special for you brothers tonight. I'm going live at 9:15.
Eastern.
Yes.
Okay.
About
9:15.
another
Hour
hour,
and
20
5
minutes from
minutes.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
yeah.
move my
Tune
stream
in,
to tomorrow. Then I was gonna do a stream
tune
tonight too, but
in
I'm gonna
tonight.
move it just for you, bro. Just for you, because
Yeah.
I know when you say something like that, I know you always come through for me, bro.
Yeah,
It's
it's just
it's
a
gonna
little
be
something.
lit, ain't it? Is
It's
it gonna
not
be
too
lit?
big.
Too
It's
hot?
If
I'm
anybody
gonna
has
get
a
it. I'm gonna
channel,
get it off early. I'm gonna get it off early so people can go about their business. But I will be highlighting it tonight at the
if
top of the
Uh-oh.
anybody
stream. So
has
make
a
sure you're
channel,
there.
anybody who has a
I
channel,
want to mention
stick it in
something.
my chat. Spam
What-
your channel in my chat.
Who, me? You want me to put my channel? I'll put the link to the
Yeah.
live in the chat so y'all can come and check it out tonight at 9:15.
All right. Hey, what's going on, brother Trey?
Well,
I
I've been
want to
making a
mention.
list. I've been making a list of playlists on my channel to like channels I'd recommend. So if you want me to add you to the playlist, just let me know. Because I'm doing a recommendation list on my
You
channel.
better put my shit up in there. What you talking
I
about?
am. I'm just saying,
Hey,
just
Why
take
my
like we've
why
got to
my
promote
damn
each
channel
other.
ain't
You know what I'm
already in
saying?
there?
Hey, Alice,
Why my shit ain't already in there?
Yeah, what's up,
I'll make
Alice?
sure
Where's
I
the
add
love,
you.
girl? Where's the
I
love?
will, I will put all y'all in there,
Yeah, you
okay? Because
definitely
like
gotta put
I'm
me up
making it
there.
separate because like I think it's important that people be able to have a way to just link up with people. Cause y'all good people, man. So that's why I'm like I made a playlist so people could go to it, like different channels, recommended channels.
Mhm.
It's a way of networking. If y'all could do it for your like make a playlist because
Right.
I found that people do check out your playlist
Hey, well,
and
hey,
that'll
put,
help.
hey, put my channel up there if you don't mind.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted to mention something.
Maurice Warfield.
Real quick. Yeah, what type of guys that be staying home, take 40 and everything? Think they could, some of them could be very dangerous to have around because they could be your
Yeah.
biggest haters. When they be around some bunch of people that's actually accomplished more than what they are and stuff like that, they will try to mooch off you like crazy. Always doing the same old. They find out you got a car. Oh, can I buy your car? They definitely find out if you got an apartment. Yeah, they want to. Oh, let's be some chicks over your house. I'm like, no, like I ain't having no other nigga man in my house. Like you gotta have your own crib. Like they would think of all different types of schemes and stuff to mooch off you. Because if you're the successful one and ain't really accomplished nothing, over and over, they probably stay there till mama either moves out or she passed away and pass down to them, but they still haven't accomplished nothing because what happened also too. When that happens, they wind up moving in with another woman.
Now I have to put this question out because this also links to a second topic that I have. I talk about the family because we see all of this, and uh, I call this adult adolescent children. Okay, does this make the family now today? Does it make it relevant, or does it make it overrated? Now, I did a I did a live family is overrated these days because it's nothing but a mooch fest. This is what I've seen. You cannot do business with family. You cannot even let your family in your house sometimes because sometimes it's your own family that'll steal from you. I've seen it. So should we trust everybody in our own family? I mean, do you all believe that you feel more comfortable dealing with people who aren't part of your family? Because family believes that the old saying, blood is thicker than water. This is where a lot of the entitlement comes from too. And if you don't give your family anything, especially if you have a business, they try to shame you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be like two factors. If you have your own plans and don't want to work on your family plans, yeah, it can be detrimental. Or just like you said, the other reverse. You got a successful business and you don't hire family relatives like that and stuff. That could be detrimental to
Yeah,
family.
Yeah,
brother Nate said it's better to share principles and morals than blood. That's fact.
That's it.
He
That's
said,
it.
Mm-hmm.
he
Cause
said, be
I'll turn.
mindful that a 30, 40-year-old child still living at his parent has a lot to do with bad parenting.
That's
yeah,
it.
And,
Cause
and
yeah.
I'm Frank Lucas with it, bro. I say, hey, look, he's your driver. Get rid of him. But he's your cousin. I don't give a damn what he is. I
No,
don't. Hey, straight up.
Absolutely.
yeah, especially if
I
you
mean,
grew up with the person and you already know they bad habits and how they do business
yeah,
and everything so much, and you might have that nagging mama in your ear, but he's your brother, blah blah blah. He's your brother.
yeah,
Oh,
you're not benefiting from your family if your family are idiots.
exactly.
Just because they're your family, if they're freaking idiots, they're still idiots. Doesn't
right.
make them better idiots because you're connected genetically. And I
That's
think
the
that's what
point I
I
was.
think that's where we run into problems. We think, okay, oh, it's my family. Yeah, but he's a freaking buffoon. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter that he's your family, he's still a stupid person. I mean, that doesn't change anything. And I think what often happens is we get caught up in these familiar things, these familial things. And, if it was anybody else, we wouldn't deal with this person. This person's a freaking idiotic nincompoop. But because we're related to them, we show them some deference and we overlook their ignorance. And I think that's a mistake. Stupid is stupid. I don't give a damn if the stupid has the same last name as you. Stupid is stupid. It doesn't
Yeah.
get less stupid because you're connected to them like they're your brother or your mother or your whatever. That doesn't change anything. They're still stupid. In fact, it's
Yeah.
worse because you're around them more than you're around other people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cause like there is a syndrome going on. It's like I'm allergic. I do have allergies, and I'm allergic to stupid people. It's not that I'm prejudiced or racist. I just don't like stupid people. Okay, and I think it's a real condition in some of our families. Cause I have some that I won't even deal with because like they won't get right. So I ain't got time to mess with them. But yeah, the blood, what is it? The blood is thicker than water kind of
Yeah.
idea. That was like presented for when you got in fights and stuff like that. But they done
Oh
turned
yeah.
it into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really sad when you think about it how people think because they're your family that you have to deal with their ass. No, if you can't act right, I ain't gonna deal with you. And no, you can't get no plate. You can't get no Christmas present. You can't get nothing from me.
Yeah,
Um,
that's another thing too. Around the holidays, okay. Now,
yeah.
uh, do you all because when it comes to Christmas presents, I'm not buying all them individuals anything that hey, you don't do anything with me during the other 364 days a year. So
Yeah.
You know what I give
why do I
them?
owe you something?
You know what I give them? I
What's
tell
that?
them, look, yo, the best gift is life, and I hope you have a good one.
Yeah, well, often what happens, like, especially if many of you are scattered all over the place, the only time you see a lot of these people is when someone's getting married or someone's getting buried. So I mean, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, that's
If you're
true.
not a yeah, if you're not a tight knit family, the only time y'all really see each other is when when somebody about to get married or somebody getting ready to be put in the ground.
It's true.
You know,
True.
I mean,
Whew,
that's
yeah,
that's
that's
just the way it is.
but coming from these real big families, you may I'm going to say every 30 years have a family reunion. You may,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's and two good things about funerals and family reunions. It's the food at the end. Put the body in the ground and
Let's
Well,
celebrate you being put in the ground by having a big
I mean
old
it's
dinner
just,
and
just
some
be a,
beer and wine.
it's like my dad's family. They're so big in Texas. Like they
wow.
have family reunions all the time because my dad's mom came from 13. His dad came from
Woo.
12. My dad came from 7. That saying it really they do it bigger in Texas. That is true because
We
all
sure
they
do.
did was have babies.
Well,
But like the good thing about a family reunion is you get to find out who you're related to, so you don't date them. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the benefit.
yeah,
The
there is that.
funerals are sad, but like the family reunion, you get to find
Yeah,
out. Like, yeah,
is
don't date that one because I went to a family reunion on my mama's side, which they got a big side of the family. They have lots of kids, and I got to meet them. And a lot of the guys had never seen me, and they was like, "Hey, who are you?" I'm said, "I your damn cousin. Now don't look at me like that." But yeah,
trying to be Jerry Lee Lewis out here marrying his cousin.
ah.
Well, I come from a very big family, and most of them live in the same area as us. So if we want a
Oh,
family reunion, we can just go to the shop or to the bus stop, anywhere. Because my sons would get annoyed with me because if I'm walking down the road and somebody says hello to me, my son will say, "Who's that?" And I'll say, "Oh, it's my cousin." We go further on down and somebody say, "Oh yeah," and you say, "Who's that?" I'll say, "My cousin." And we go
you say
further on down the
me,
road, and
you
I
say
say,
me in front of everything, like
"Yeah,
me.
me cousin."
Oh,
I,
really?
yeah, when you were doing that southern thing the other day, a lot of the phrases you used on that
we all
show, we have in England, we use in England.
Really?
Yeah,
huh.
and I was sat there, and I was sat in bed, and I was quite having a little giggle to myself at some of the things they say.
Yeah, it
But
made
yeah,
me laugh.
we are basically related to everybody in this town. And in the end, he got to the point where he says, I'm not even going to ask. So, yeah, we come from a very big family. We
He
don't
just needs
need
to ask
partners.
when he's trying to. He needs to ask if he's trying to get married. Like I think
Oh, he
that.
ain't marrying round here. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah, make sure that you know who it is. Like, bring her home first, son. That way I can make sure you're not related to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Countryside
shout
said.
out, shout out to Catalina Castillo. Haven't seen you around in a long time. Welcome to the chat. But again, and don't everybody, if you got a close knit family, please, I'm not talking about you, but I I love family, but I just like them living 3 to 4 hours away from
Yeah.
me, so they're not at my
Well, I'm
door.
well, I'm talking about you, goddamn it, because I ain't as polite as Brother Leon. I'm talking about your ass, and I don't care.
Go ahead,
Um,
brother.
yeah, I'm
Everybody,
talking.
everybody gets some teapot.
Yeah,
Everybody gets
I,
some from teapot.
damn, I'm
They,
talking about your
they
ass.
say you can choose
Uh,
your friends, but you can't choose your family.
But you
exactly.
can't
Well,
move the hell away from them.
Yeah.
well,
Hey, I
well,
think 10
some of
hours
the
is
people
fine.
in
That's
your
pretty darn
family
good.
you don't want to have anything to do with anyway. Yeah, I mean, you got some people in your family, man. Guess what? You don't want a damn thing to do with these people. You
Fact.
don't. You don't want them around because they're crooks and thieves and they smoke crack and they do all this kind of foolishness. I mean, and that's where we go back into the deference again, where you got this crackhead freaking a brother, this crackhead sister or cousin, and for some reason, because they're related to you, you think there's some different level of freaking crackhead or something. You see
No,
some
crackheads
crackhead,
is crackheads.
yeah.
You,
You
you,
see
you,
some crackhead or some heroin addict on the side of the road. You're like, oh my God, look at that nasty crackhead. Guess what? When they see your brother, or when someone sees your brother and sister walking out there, guess what they're saying? Oh, look at that nasty crackhead. It's just that that crackhead is related to you. That's the only difference. Whatever
Well,
other crackheads do, they do. Whatever dirty needles heroin addicts use, your damn brother and sister use them. Whatever robbing, stealing, getting on their knees and licking balls in the park. Guess what? Guess what? Your crackhead relative is doing it too.
well,
that,
you think about that because like that's another issue some parents have. Some hold on and like put up and enable their addict children, and some of them are at the house because they're drug addicts. And I see that as another issue. Like they're enabling them to be drug addicts because they're not forcing them to get out there and fix themselves. That
that-
is another issue I see. It's like especially the ones like 411 was talking about the mom smoking pot with the
oh
kids and
yeah,
stuff like that. That's not normal. Like she's trying to be the friend. And that's another thing.
that
The parents are trying to be the kid's friend. You are not their
right.
friend. You are their parent.
But
And because we
but
have
isn't
that,
it deeper than that though? If you and your child are getting high, I think it's greater than the parent trying to be the child's friend. What I think the
well,
child what I think the parent is trying to do is not only be the child's peer, but she's also being the child's enabler. All
yes.
right.
That's
And what
true.
And what I found was the ones that do use their like let their kids get high, they find that as another opportunity to get drugs because they'll use the kids to go get the drugs. Like the girl will be younger because I have seen it. Um, it's a big thing, like in the white community, like in the rich part that I noticed. Like some of them will let their kids get high, and it's so that the parent don't go to jail. The kids easily to get out, because like there's these laws that teenagers weren't at one time. Teenagers weren't getting charged as adults, so if they took that charge, then it wouldn't go onto their adult record. But Georgia decided to change that. Like if you're under a certain age, it doesn't matter. You break the law, you that carries on to your adulthood. But there's like a lot of issues going on with our generation, this generation now, especially with them passing laws where certain drugs are legal now. Is that a good idea, or is that going to make it worse? And it's just
Yeah.
like they put the 21 for cigarettes, and I haven't, like, I made a meme. I thought it was kind of funny. The little about the 21-year-old, like, the boy, he's 19. He's like, "Hey, mama, can you go buy me a pack of cigarettes?" Like that. You think about it, like, I
But
don't know, man. We've got too many
how?
problems. We got too many
Yes,
problems in the States.
no, we got too many insufficient ass parents, and some of these freaking people have no business raising children. This is the
Yeah.
thing. You can't turn around and tell your kid, take out the garbage, wash the dishes, go clean your room just right after you and him just got done smoking a freaking joint. I mean, y'all just got done smoking a joint together. Now you're going to turn around and say, "Oh, go clean your room." Like, really? Really? You done
I'm
just broke
stoned.
whatever you done just broke whatever parent
Uh,
to child bond that you guys have, because see, parenting is about boundaries, right? I'm the parent, you're the freaking kid. If
Well, you,
I'm doing things with you as an adult while you're a child, what I'm doing is I'm bringing you up to my level. So once I bring you up to my level, I cannot now vacillate between those two extremes. Now I can't be your peer and you get high buddy today, but tomorrow I'm your parent and I want you to take out the trash. That's stupid.
well,
It doesn't
also,
make any sense.
well, also, some of you, and you know how it is, teapot in the black community with some of these mamas out here. They're telling their sons, "You're the man of the house." Why are you?
Yes.
Why are you appointing your boy to a position that he has no idea of what he's getting into?
Absolutely. And they tell these boys this when they're 8, 9 years old, that
Yeah,
he's the man of the house. He's 8, 9 years old. He's not the man of any goddamn thing. He's not even the man of himself, let alone
and they
the
do.
man of the
well,
house.
they don't just do that in the black community now. I've seen it in other communities, especially with the single moms. Okay, like with
Right.
me, I told my son, I said, when you get older, you'll be the man of your house. But right now, you just a little boy and you need to be a boy. And I think we're putting too much on these kids. Like with everything in the climate we're in, they're pushing too much on the kids, and they're not being kids. And people need to realize we're not raising kids, we're raising adults. That I don't think they put an emphasis on that enough. Like, once they get to a certain age, we have to
Well,
realize that they're only kids for a little while, and we need to teach them to be adults. Because if
well,
we don't teach them while they're growing, they're going to be up the creek without a paddle.
well,
Absolutely.
some of these parents and these kids, I'm just going to put it out just like this, psychologically wise, they have Peter Pan syndrome. They never grow up.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah. Yeah.
stuck
Well,
in
the women have the Cinderella complex.
the princess syndrome. That's what I used to call it. Get a
Yeah,
good
like you
word
got
now.
Peter Pan and the Princess syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, there is no white knight on a horse that's gonna come save your ass. It's not.
No.
It's not reality. Like,
Yeah.
you either get it, girl, or you're gonna be left in the dust.
do you are you saying there is no fairy there are no fairy tales in real life? Is that what you're saying up here
Yeah.
right now?
Man,
You better not be saying that,
if you
goddamn
wait on that, that's like waiting on winning the lottery. Okay, that's
it.
just not gonna happen. And they've been selling these people these dreams with this Disney and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, you're just you just got to drop that one shoe. Well, girl, what you gonna do when you need to walk?
So
Yeah.
we're not teaching them the real world either. We're teaching them now. Mama's well, everything is going to be all right, baby.
Yeah, she's
Everything ain't
setting
going
them
to be
up
all
for
right.
failure.
Why do
No.
you think that is, though, brother Leon? Why do you think that is, brother Leon? Why do
Well,
you? And I'll tell you why it is.
yeah.
The difference between a male parent. Well, there's many differences, but some of the greatest differences between a male parent and a female parent. Number one, female parents kind of care what their children think of them. Fathers, we don't give a crap what you
No,
think
we
of us.
don't. Oh,
We don't give a damn what you think of us. We think telling you the truth is more important than what you think of us.
Well, you know,
And
if
also,
yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, bro.
yeah, and also, we are more focused on you not growing up to be an idiot. That's what we're focused on.
That's
As men, we are so focused on trying to make sure that you grow up to be better than us. Women have a tendency to raise children to be just like them, and a lot of times they turn out worse.
and that's what you
That's the
got now.
difference.
Because I was watching Denzel Washington played in a movie. It was filmed in Pittsburgh called and Viola Davis played in it, Fence. And the son
Mhm.
asked Denzel, "Daddy, do you like me?" And Denzel said, "The question is not whether I like you. My job is to raise you, to make you a responsible man."
Yes.
That's and you know, a number of individuals believe that dads don't have love. No, we're just a little different with it because see,
Yeah,
we do teach our children about the real world, whereas, like you said, brother Teapot, the mothers, particularly, I know in the
Yeah.
black community, they teach them to have this magical thinking. God is going to do
Yes.
it for you. Let's just be
Yes.
honest.
And they care about what the children think of them, and that kind of blinds them. And see, I think a lot of women do it totally wrong. Because see, we as men, we already know we have to teach our sons and protect our daughters. The women do
Yeah,
the exact opposite. What they try to do is teach their daughters and protect their sons. Sons don't need protection. They need teaching. They need guidance. They need counsel. They need instruction. They need training. They don't need
yeah.
protection. Girls need protection. Guys don't need protection. And that's where I think the mothers mess up at. They trying to protect these damn sons because they got it in their head that if they don't protect them, they're gonna get killed by the police. The white folks gonna get them. Racism gonna get them, and also
Well,
kind of stupid ass stuff.
well,
Men, we don't buy into that. So what
no,
do? We train our sons. We counsel our sons. We instruct our sons. We protect our daughters, and we leave whatever feminine counsel and guidance they need, we kind of leave that to the mother. But
right,
we put our daughters under our protection because we know that they have a little more to fear out there in the world as opposed to a man. A man doesn't need protection from the world. He needs to go out into the world and conquer it. It's women that usually need protection from the world, especially young girls. Now, as they get older, that's different. But young girls require a lot of protection from the world because I'm a true believer that children are the most unprotected people on this planet. It's not these hoes, all right? It's not these
yeah.
women. It's not all this other kind of crap. It's children. They are the most unprotected. And I will be talking about that tonight.
and you can, and you
Um,
know what? I'm
well,
glad you
you
brought that up,
you're gonna see
Teapot.
some stuff tonight that's gonna make your skin crawl.
I'm
So be
glad you brought that
prepared.
up because we got the. I'm gonna change the name. I'm not gonna call it the public school system. I'm gonna call it the public fool system. With all LGBTQ studies, they're just trying to put our children right into
it,
that
it,
slaughterhouse so they'll indoctrinate our children. And this is why. And this is actually true. The Generation Z generation is more tolerant than we were, brother Teapot, as far as all because with women, they are a little more tolerant of things than we are.
Oh
We're
yeah,
not,
they're more
well,
tolerant. They're more tolerant of BS because see, your mom, when it comes to your mom, she knows these things are stupid and she lets them happen anyway. Your
yeah,
old man is like, nah, man, this is stupid, boy. Get out of here. But your mom, she knows it's stupid, but she lets it happen anyway. See how that
yeah.
works?
That's why I think like the difference between a man and a woman, like as parents, is women give like comfort love. Men give tough love, and the
Yes.
love that men give are to teach lessons. Like you grow, like it's painful to grow, okay? And that's why men
Yes.
are important as fathers because like with I had my father around, so it was like I had my mom's comfort, but my dad, he didn't put up with nothing. You either get it right or you try until you do. He wasn't gonna
Yes.
sit there and let me cry. He was like, yeah, dust yourself off,
Well,
soldier.
well,
You
the
know what I'm
old
saying?
man's lessons hurt. the old man's lessons hurt sometimes.
Yeah, but they
He knows
last.
they hurt. He knows they hurt, and guess what? He doesn't care.
Yeah, because he'd rather teach you a lesson that'll hurt you than put you in danger. That's what a lot of people don't realize. It's not that daddy's got a hard hand. It's just daddy knows how hard the world is.
Mhm.
And see,
And
yeah,
If
and
ever I
like,
see,
wanted advice, I would never go to my mum. It was always to my dad
now
because I knew he would tell me
yeah,
directly.
yeah, daddy won't lie to you. My daddy, there's many times like when I went to jail, I thought I was gonna call my daddy, right? My daddy says, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know how you got in, but you're gonna have to figure out how to get out because I don't know how you
yeah,
got in there. So
yeah.
like it was a tough lesson, but him not saving me taught me to stay the hell out of that little hole.
Now,
Okay.
now think of what
Because
you're
the
talking about.
mums, oh, sorry, I
Yeah,
was going to say the mums, they like to know that you need them.
well, that's
Yes.
true. That's true. But you
Yes.
think about something. Okay, everybody on the panel, we were raised with dads. There's one word that's missing, and it would be abusive today because of the psychologists over at these universities, and it's called punishment. Do you know if you
Mhm.
punish your children, that's considered abuse? Now, brother Teapot, I'm gonna ask you this because I'm honest about this. Did you ever get that belt? Did you ever
What,
get
when
that?
I
Yeah, I
did
mean,
I get it myself?
no. Did you ever get that? A whooping, a
No,
hand whooping?
what I used to do is I used to take my sons. I never really had to beat them like that.
No, did your parents
But
whoop you?
oh yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
oh
about to
yeah.
say,
But my dad, no, my dad, I could count the times on my hand that my old man actually, quote unquote, whooped us.
but
My dad was a big guy. He didn't
oh,
have to whoop you. He would pick you up off the ground with by your chin. He'd like grab you and like literally pick you up by your chin and bring you to his eye level. I remember him doing that when I was a kid. He would pick you up and bring you to his eye level. And he'd be talking through his teeth like, you little, let me tell you something, Negro. He'd be talking through his teeth. And I mean, you'd be like shaking in your freaking boots. All right. Because it was like when he got mad, it was like he was almost like the Incredible Hulk. It was almost like he was bigger when he was angry. And man, I mean, you didn't want to screw around. See, my old man was old school. All right. My father was an old school Geechee from the sticks of Georgia. And man, and it took some to get him to get at you like that. I mean, my mother, she was more quicker, to get really, really angry with you, but you had to really screw up to get the old man after you. I mean, you had to do something really screwed up. And when he was after you, it was all bad. Yeah, it was all bad. If he had to come in from working 12 hours and deal with you, he made your ass regret it. Yeah, it
let me
made you regret it.
let me ask you a question. Like it was that weight, that suspense with me. Like my mom, if we did something, she would say, "Wait till your daddy get home,"
Yeah, but they
and it's
can't
that
say that
weight.
now, can they?
no,
Yeah, they
I,
can because let me tell you, my cousin's a cop. Like he just retired. There was many times that he got a call from somebody, like a kid, called the police on the parent talking about there's this child abuse, and he'd get there and they say, well, he'd ask some questions. She won't let me play my PlayStation. So my cousin said, "Hey, I want you to go get that PlayStation and you throw it away, and I'm gonna stand here as long as you hit him on his ass. Then it's okay." But don't be beating on his face, none of that. I'm gonna stand here and let you whoop that youngin's ass because he needs to know that you are Johnny Law and we're your backup.
yeah,
And
that's
and he went back to check on that kid, and after that, that woman didn't have any more problems. See, a lot of parents think that the police is just gonna lock you up. If the child comes and you tell the cops exactly what's going on, more than likely they will not arrest you. They'll be more than willing, especially if it's a male cop. That's why male cops are more more stand that the male cops are more important than the female cops because the female cops are gonna play on emotion. That's why like certain positions do not need women in them. The fact of the matter is women aren't as strong as men. And look, there's been many cases that I've seen where a woman has lost complete control, but they are trying to make it hard for us to discipline our child,
They are.
and
Yeah.
we need to fight against that as parents because
Mhm.
the kids have to know consequences. The sooner
Yeah.
they know that there's consequences, the better they are as adults. And they are making it hard for parents to
Well,
discipline them.
well, with all
Mhm.
this
I think
dysfunctional parenting going on right now, some of these kids out here think that they are running the household.
Yeah, because the
yeah,
parents are allowing that to happen.
They
yes.
do
And
allow it. Yes, they
they're
do.
scared of the
They've been led
kids.
to believe that. They've been led to
Mm.
believe that. Um,
Yeah, like this is bullshit. Like my mama
and
had a
see,
switch
Yeah,
book.
a lot of
you
times
got
they wait. A lot of times they wait till it's too late. You don't start parenting your child when your child is 13. All right. You
Yeah, you
start
have to
parenting your
start at
child when
knee
your child is
high.
a damn infant. Yeah,
hmm
you don't wait till they 13. Now you're gonna be their parent. That's stupid. You need to be their
Right.
parent as soon as they fall out the funk box, you already their parent.
you
So
got
I
you got
mean,
people you got people working in the school system that don't even have kids. Like some of these teachers and guidance counselors, they see what happens to the kid and then take it as they being abused. No, that kid was acting up and parents disciplined him or her, and unfortunately, they gave him so much power in the thought of you could be put on your parents. You got rights now too, especially
Mhm.
because of the transgender identity.
It's because they haven't laid down the reality. There is abuse, but there is discipline, and they're
Exactly.
trying to confuse the two because there has been kids that have been beat to death and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that's not discipline. That is abuse, and they're trying to like blur the two as if we even discipline our kids, then we're abusing them. No,
hmm
there is abuse and then there is discipline. And they
Yeah.
need to stop blurring the two in the United States because that's what's causing all these little teenagers to go on these scooters. Like in Atlanta, they had the little kids that were like 12, 13 years old doing busting jack moves. And it's because their parents is letting them just run rampant and not having any consequences.
Or going as far as letting your own kid choose their gender identity so much. You don't. You
yeah.
choose
Yeah.
your kid. I'm like,
And you know what they're
this is how
finding with
far
that,
that's gone.
Mel? You know what they're finding? Like, because they're letting the kids do that, they've had more detransitioners when they got older. And
hmm
that's why Texas put in that thing because they were allowing them to take off the breast of the little girls
Yep.
at 12 years old.
What?
Like,
What?
What?
damn. That's why they put in that thing at Texas because they were allowing kids that were 12, that were pubescent, that were starting to get breasts, they were cutting them off.
Now, see,
That's
this
why
is.
they.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. This and this is and I'm just as hard on the education system as Teapot is hard on families. I went to school, but I can tell you the education system is fucked up.
Yes.
Colleges and universities do not send your kids to college or any universities. In fact, if I had it my way, the public school system would be gone. It'd be two types of schools: charter schools and home schools, because
Yep.
these school systems here, they're teaching all kinds of indoctrination to your kids, and your kids are coming out not understanding the real world. They're also told to hate their parents. They're told that they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to listen to their parents. Kids are told that they can do anything that they want to do. They're told that they can disrespect anybody. But what is not been told is kids going to step to the wrong person and somebody's going to tear his or her ass out the
Yeah,
frame.
but isn't that part of the parental thing though, brother Leon? Because
It is.
I think what happens is often when it comes to these things, especially nowadays, I think we rely too much on external forces to raise the kid. A lot of people think that the school is supposed to help raise your damn kid.
No, that starts
Um,
at home.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
the the first teacher and first instructor of and counselor of your kid is supposed to be you. You know, not these strangers who work in the schoolhouse. Yes, they play an integral part depending on how good, bad, or indifferent the educational system is, but you're
Right.
supposed to be the one, teaching the morals. You're supposed to be the one setting the parameters, creating the guidelines, creating the discipline, giving the integrity, and all that kind of stuff. A
That's the
belief
stuff what
system.
they don't get in books. It's built
Yes,
inside you.
Right.
It
yes,
needs to be brought
Well,
out
yes.
of you.
well, all
Yeah,
this
you
stuff.
don't learn that in school.
Well, all this stuff started back in the '60s, and it's caught up to us now. And you had all these college elites that had these theories. They were going for their PhDs, and they had these wild, quirky theories back in the days of the hippies about how to raise kids. And a lot of them don't even have kids, by the way, but they're trying to tell
Yeah,
you how
Yeah.
to raise kids.
I,
yeah,
I, I honestly think the public schools make parents lazy because I
They
started to
do.
like look at the time. Like if you think about it, you have 24 hours in a day, right? So the kid's in school for 6 to 8 hours a day. Then he's got 2 to 3 hours in homework. Then you got to feed them. Then you got to bathe them, and before you know it, they're back in bed. So that's 5 days a week. They're only with the parents a couple hours a day. And
yeah,
I think that the public school system, like us being forced to do public schools, has made the parents lazy, has not put the responsibility back on the parents where it needs to be. And that's why I started doing homeschool because I noticed that my son's attitude started to change. Everything
Right.
started to change. And it's because they're not with me. They're not being taught anything, but they're indoctrination camps is what they are. they
That's it.
they're
yeah,
raising them kids the way they want to see them in society, not how we want them as parents to be. And until we take the power back and stop using these public places, will we start to see our children to actually grow up to the people we are growing them up to be. Okay, like my kids wouldn't even know how to do half the stuff that they know if I would have kept them in public school. Once I started doing homeschool, they're actually doing things. They're doing a garden, they're working on cars, they're learning how to build stuff. I mean, that stuff they would have never learned. All they would have learned is how to color and this craziness that has no point.
how to color. She said how to color.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you think about it,
that's
all I
cool.
was getting from homes, like I'd send them to school, they'd come home, they didn't have any books. All they had was these worksheets, and they wanted them to color and everything else. And I'm like, why do they need so many coloring pencils? Like, what are y'all actually teaching my kids? And the bad thing is when you try as a parent to find out what they're teaching your kids, it's like pulling nail and teeth trying to get out to find out what's actually being taught. The kids will come home. The first thing they'll say is, "What did you learn today?" "Oh, I don't know. I didn't learn nothing." So that started to like resonate. I was like, "What do you mean you're not learning anything?" Like well, it really opened my eyes during the pandemic, when they started doing the virtual school. And I
Yeah,
noticed, like, even in virtual class, she would never call on the boys to answer any questions. I would have to, step in and be like, when are you going to get all the boys to answer? Because you can see all the kids on the screen and everything. And the only person she was letting answer the questions was the girls. So you could see the boys just like being distracted, they're not even paying attention. And I noticed my kids' grades started to drop because they were not interacting with the boys. And it's because of the studies they have done with the girls, they're leaving the boys behind. And that's what's messing up our society with the boys. They're like treating them like they're second class citizens. So yeah, I think like we really don't need public schools. Parents need to pick up the slack and stop putting all the pressure on the state. I think that they have made it this way, so we will be dependent on the government to fix our problems.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
I'm conservative, so I'm like, I know the government ain't gonna help me. So why would I even set my kids up for that failure? Is the question.
Well, I think I believe that most of us don't even know what government is there for. It's supposed to protect our rights, but
Yeah, not fund us.
right. It's not supposed to fund us from cradle to grave. And see, a number of these children today. Here's something as well. The going back to the parents. Well, the parents weren't taught by their parents how to be parents. So a number of these kids that have been created, they were created by negligence. In the
Yep.
club, you met somebody in a bar, you took them to the telly, you knocked the bottom of it out, you slammed the
Huh.
headboard against the bed while you
Hook,
were
the
hitting
hookup culture. Hookup
Yeah.
well,
culture.
that's what we got. Shout out to Lemon Pepper Wing 69. But that's
A lot of a lot of us are oops babies. A lot of us are oops babies, man. I talk
Oops.
about this stuff too. I talk about this stuff all the time too. Some of
yeah,
some of us got conceived in a nightclub bathroom. Some of us
yeah,
Well,
got
I was
conceived
I was
true.
on
the
on
unexpected
It's
child.
true.
See, my
uh,
mama was done having kids, and here I come. Like they didn't plan on me, but like my mom is glad she had me because like she got sick for a couple years, and I had to take care of her. She's doing good now, but
Hey,
like she says that everything happens for a reason, and she's glad that she had me.
be-
Um,
yeah, because
but yeah,
speaking of the oops babies, there are a number, and I'm going back, I'm sure it happens in the Caucasian community too. But brother Teapot, you can relate to this. There's some of these mamas who are on welfare. Okay,
mm-hmm,
then their daughter turns 18 and she starts encouraging two things happen. She starts to encourage her daughter to have another child before the welfare check cuts off. And then when she
mm-hmm.
has a child, she and that daughter are living in the same house and she'll be the babysitter of that
Yeah,
daughter. Or she
yeah.
will have a baby at the age of 40, not because she loves the person she had the baby with, it's because she wants that welfare check. The government has made it
Yeah.
too easy for
Yeah, man.
a number of
A
these
lot of
women
a lot of these kids are
to
nothing
be
but a check
responsible.
to the yeah, they just a check to these women. That's why these kids get abused,
yeah,
man. A lot of these kids, man, to be honest, man, in all honesty, a lot of these kids, man, they weren't even wanted. They didn't even want these kids, man. They just hooked
No,
up with somebody. They had their legs open on the bed of a F-150, and then next thing you know, 9 months later, well, it's a
yeah.
baby. All right. They
True,
had their legs
true.
open in the park. 9 months later, it's a baby. They had
and
their legs open at some party somewhere. 9 months later, a baby. When
Well,
babies come
well,
around in that fashion, they are more likely to be abused. They are more likely to be neglected. They are more likely
absolutely.
But
to be
well.
these kids that end up with no supervision, no guidance, no counsel, no anything. But I'm gonna say this because I got to get off because I got to stream in a little while. I got to get ready.
All right, all right, bro.
This is this is the thing. All right. When it comes to parenting, all right. Number one, a lot of people don't even need to be goddamn parents. Okay, let's
That's
be honest. Some people do not need to be parents. And number two, we gotta stop using the damn schoolhouse as a daycare. Okay.
yeah.
Why do you think a lot of these women were going insane during the pandemic? Man, they were all on social media. Oh my God, you gotta open the schools. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah,
You
because
know
they
why? You know why they were doing that, brother
yeah,
Leon? Because for once in their
they
goddamn
had to
life,
be
you
parents.
know what they had to do?
They had the money
Be the kid's parent.
because right,
And
because
they just couldn't stand it.
what some of these women are doing. They're dropping their kids off at their mama's house so they can have fun. And I know when my mom and dad told me, you knock a girl up, you gonna have to take that baby with you if you go to the club. See, the
Yep.
same things that we talked about, they're not happening today because something else is raising our children too. Social media. How many
Oh
Oh,
children
yeah.
are on social media?
absolutely.
And how many children? I mean, I've seen 9, 10 year olds with an iPhone. I couldn't even
Well,
afford an iPhone.
we used to say back in the day, it takes a village to raise a child. I think
Yeah.
now, I think now that's the problem. The village is raising a child. The only difference is the village is social media, television, music, video games. I mean, that is the village now. And
Yeah.
that's what's
It's
raising
all
a
personal.
child.
It's not
And
in
I
person.
think that is not the whole problem, but it's definitely part of the problem. But you got to think when you talk about the music, the social media, the television, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Who's buying the shit? So
The
it
parent.
still
Yeah.
goes back to the parent at the end of the day. But I got to get up out of here.
All right, brother Teapot.
Thanks for having me on, brother Leon, brother Mel, Lady Alice, Lady Genevieve. Peace, everybody. I will see y'all on the other side. Come check me out tonight, 9:15 Eastern. Check me out all this week, man. I got a full clip this week. I got a show. I got a show tomorrow, and I got 2 on Saturday.
So.
I'm going to watch the one with Clue. I've got to watch the one with Clue because I want to pick up some roasting tips.
Yeah.
Roasting tips.
Hey,
are you going to be on the race game?
I already asked her. She said no.
They're not
she
ready
turned
for me.
Down.
They're not ready
She
for me.
They're not ready.
She said no.
Clue would have
an
heart attack if they put me up there.
I tried to get her to come through. She said no. Maybe I gotta talk. I gotta talk to her husband and see if he can,
y'all do it together. Why don't you and Clue do it together? Like, yeah,
it's time different, Sia, because it's 1:45 in the morning here at the moment.
Yeah,
so,
oh wow,
I should be asleep.
Like, you should have like a wife and husband thing. Teapot, have you done that yet?
Well, what I'm gonna do? Cause see, me and Clue are cool. Me and her husband are cool. So I'm gonna beat him in the head, and maybe he'll beat her in the head, and then that's how it'll all fall out like that. I'll beat him in the head, he'll beat her in the head, and then we'll do a string.
I think it would be a good thing to have like a husband-wife thing, like have a discussion on like couples.
Well, I was thinking about that. Don't be giving away my damn ideas up here.
I'm sorry. I just thought about that because of them.
But I'm gonna get out of here, man. I will see y'all on the other side. Thanks
right,
again,
peace, brother X.
Peace.
All right. Computer robots, let me get to the chat. He says people need to stop having casual sex because there are many men and women who have so many soul ties to these strangers just by having sex.
They say you are connected to whoever you screw.
Yeah, I've actually heard that.
Well, it's not just the women putting their legs up. There's a lot of men running around shooting that gun down there. Shooting that gun down there and not thinking about, well, them bullets is loaded. You know what I'm saying?
No dick discipline. That's it. Trey, shout out to brother Trey. Older chicks having them retarded kids. Trey, hey,
yeah,
Trey,
they do have a higher. Trey is right. They have a higher rate of having like mentally disabled children once they get to a certain age.
And that, isn't it?
Hey,
that's
Trey,
why women have
brother.
That's why we have a like a biological clock, because women aren't like capable of, like, once they get to a certain age, their whole mind and body starts to shift. I have noticed that, like, the older the mom is when she has kids, like, her temperament, she's not as energetic, stuff like that. So yeah, men having kids until they're like, they can have kids until they can produce kids, not have kids, produce kids. Let me use the right language. They can produce kids to the day they die. Because y'all are like the giver of seeds.
Well, Latin America says old eggs. That's facts too. Old eggs. So
but these are kind of conversations we do need to have.
And I'm gonna keep on bringing them up on my channel here, because I see nobody else is talking about. I mean, look. One thing that we need to look at is behavior. Okay, and I'm going to go back to doing stuff on the princess syndrome. I'm going to talk about the dark triad again. I'm going to start bringing some of this stuff back to the forefront, because nobody wants to talk about these issues. So I'm going to talk about it again.
Well, it's like this 411. It doesn't matter what color they are. The behavior. And a lot of people like to look at different groups, but is it the groups or is it the behavior of that individual? I think we've got too many scapegoats when we think about groups. When we use these groups, people want to blame the school system, people want to blame that. But where is the responsibility at with
There's
the
no
children?
accountability at all, is there?
Yeah, this is not
Yeah.
about racism, because when I do my videos, I include everybody. You're right. Too much identity has allowed some people to be victims, like the feminists, i.e., some black people, in the victim status, because they believe that they don't have to be responsible. The hell you don't. You do have to be responsible. And
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with it's not really, I'm talking about like just groups. They're trying to
no, that's
make
a
us
scapegoat,
focus on a group to get away from individual accountability.
because
That belongs to the behavior. And that is a good subject to talk about because I think people need to recognize behaviors more than group identity.
right now, and I just believe that individuals, they love to pass the buck. Okay, well, it's not my
Yeah.
fault. And this, the funny thing about it, I'm gonna go back to politics again. It's the Democrat Party. Shout out to you, brother Clue. Shout out to brother Nate. It's the left in this country. Let's just be honest, Alice. The left.
Yeah, because like I was looking up the political stuff, right? And how the ones that are promoting more and more programs are the ones that do not want individual responsibility. The
No.
ones that want less government actually want people to be self-responsible, because the more we have to attach ourselves to make excuses is the less we will see the actual society be productive. Um that we've put too much emphasis on the government to take care of us.
And
People
that
need
is
to
it.
learn to be self-efficient. And you're right about the country, like the people in the country, they're not independent, they're just self-efficient. And a lot of people get that confused with an independent woman. No,
No,
we're raised the way we're raised so we can make it and
I'm
be able to help the man if he does get down and out. We'll be able to pick up the slack.
and
But we still want the men to take lead, though,
right.
because
Now,
y'all are
when
more
I hear that
logical.
term independent woman, that's just somebody who's single that can't get a man because of her attitude, and she
Oh
thinks she's
yeah,
better than a man. And i.e., I don't deal with communist feminists out here. No, that does not. That they are, most of your feminists out here are communists, or they have that they think about the government. And here's why I'm saying this: because they really want something for nothing. They want to, their equality is selective. They don't want genuine equality because they have to do work for equality. You have to be an adult. So you have a number of women who are, again, feminists. And your average woman doesn't even know what feminism really is. They'll tell you,
yeah.
oh,
Because I didn't find out till later what that word meant. I was like, what the hell is this, right? Because like I was never taught identity politics besides being like conservative, like get out there and get it. And then I got older and I found out what feminist was. I was like, this is just an ego-led woman that wants entitlements. That's the only way I can describe a feminist. She wants to infringe on other people's rights.
well, that's all she wants to do. Because the funny thing about it, if you want true equality, I would tell a woman this, then why don't you create your own instead of trying to integrate in everything that's already been built by guys? And then you're making all these policies to benefit you, because that's what it's all about. Compete. If you want true equality, you got to compete. Don't get subsidized. Build it yourself, and then find out if you are strong enough to compete in this man's world, because it's still a man's world. Although
Yeah, it is a man's world. But like what I also realized with the feminist thing is there's no checks and balances.
there's
They only want checks, no balance.
well, of course, and that's what's wrong with a number of these, and that's why a number of these women out here, and you got men, femboys, that's what I call them. They have a hard time dealing with real world subjects. Shout out to brother Big Body in the house. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, I just want to say happy Happy Easter, day after, whatever the fuck to everyone. Hope everybody's holiday was good. Go Sixers, although we're losing right now. And hey man, I'm a little off key right here, man. I just want to throw this out. I ain't gonna be long, man.
Okay,
I
brother.
just lost, I just lost my uncle yesterday, man.
Oh,
And
my condolences, bro.
yeah, yeah, thanks, man. And
Yeah,
just want to say,
I lost my aunt Juanita about last Friday, so I kind of grieve a little differently. I just have to keep on. Not that I'm not saddened, but sorry to hear that, bro. I know how it is.
yeah,
I
man.
send you. I send you my prayers, man.
Thank you,
Yeah, my
thank you.
condolences.
I went to my aunt's to see my uncle because she was so hysterical because he was out cold in the bed. He died at home yesterday, and I had to actually drive down to his daughter's college campus to pick her up and give her the news. It's kind of hard to let a 19-year-old girl know that her dad is dead when when she's coming up on finals.
Oh,
And you know, the point I'm getting to is this, man. With this love, hate, and all this, positive and negative energy towards each other, men, women, and all, man. I just say this much, man. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to cut on up out of here, man.
all right, bro.
Be mindful. Be mindful who you hold a gripe towards, because you never know when your last day is going to be, and you never know who's going to be that person who has to hand you your glass of water, man. You know.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's
So
fact.
it doesn't really pay to hold on to shit, man. It's easier to love than to hate, man. And I see that, after yesterday's events and family all coming together. It sucks that we only come together when motherfuckers either getting married or dying.
Brother Matt, that's exactly what we were talking about tonight. Teapot
Shit.
Matt.
Mm,
Same thing.
mm. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we all come together, married or buried, and sometimes
Yeah.
doing family reunions.
Yeah, man. So I stress this to everybody, whether you're over the social media or you're in the physical form, man. Love your family, man, because you only get one of them, man. You can change your friends, but you can't change your family. And if you can't get along with them, hey, love them from a distance, man. But don't
Fact.
cut them off, man, because you never know when you might need somebody to be there for you.
You know what, brother? That is true. I mean, I know I've been hard on the family, but and I'm only talking about the irresponsible family members. Ones that are there, okay, that's a different story. And what we were talking about was, grown kids living at home past 25 and they're not doing anything with their lives. That's all. And because we needed to bring this up because there are a number of uh, socially awkward kids out here that they've run into some problems because of bad parenting and bad advice from social media. But your point is well taken as well, brother Matt.
Yeah, man. Some people just don't make it over the hump, but that don't mean you gotta shame yourself or shy yourself from or shame them, man. Some people just are where they going to be, man. You just gotta accept them for what it's going to be. But again, man, love your family, man, because you never know who might need you or you might need them in time of crisis, man. And I seen last night after my uncle passed and me coming together with family that I don't even fuck with. I
Yeah,
said, it's like, wow, man, this shit has to stop, man. I mean, again, you only get one family. I mean, you can always change your friends, but you can't change your family. And the family that you got, man, try to hold on to them and love them, man. Even if you can't get along with them, just love them at a distance or in a different way, man. But shit, man, tomorrow ain't promising nobody, man. My uncle died at 58 years old, man. 58
58.
years old. Yeah,
Wow, man, 1 year older than me.
yeah,
You sound like my Uncle Paul. Like he always talked about that. Family is all you got when the world's going to crap. Who's got your six? Who's got your nine? Um, Friends will come and go, and so will your family. You, all I could suggest is just remember them in your heart when they go, and take what they have taught you, and keep it mindful. Because even my uncle's been gone for 2 years now, and lots of stuff that your family does teach you sticks with you. So yeah, Love the ones you can, and if you can't stand them, just love them from a distance. He's right about that.
Yeah, he's right about that. He's right about that. Shout out to Clue because of those white supremacists. The Clue channel. Check his channel out. Check Matt Big Body's channel out as well. But yeah, that's true. But it's very important though to understand what family really is, because I just seen a different change in it from when I was growing up, because there are a number of individuals out there that are there just to ask you for money. They're there, they want to mooch off of you because their lives aren't good. And if you don't help them, they will shame you. I mean, I've had that from my own family. And I'm sure everybody else has run into some bad family members too.
Yeah. You
And
can't enable them. It's like there's a difference from helping them and enabling them. You have to know where the line is. I was taught to help everybody, but I didn't know where the line was. But I found out you help people as long as it's not going to hurt you. At the end of the day, we can help whoever want to help, but is it going to drag you down or put you in a damn bind? Like they had that, there was this saying where you got somebody that's drowning, they're reaching for your hand, but a lot of people, even family, they'll reach for you just to drown you too, because their
Mm-hmm.
struggle so hard. There's no way you can hold it. So you just have to, as an individual, look at the situation and see, is this going to hurt me in the end? Yeah, you want to help them, but you have to learn where the line is. And that took a long time for me to learn, because I used to help just about anybody until I started getting
Me
trouble.
too. Me too.
Yeah,
and
you
you
put you in a bind, don't it, Jenny?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
you really, as a woman, you're like, I want to help, I want to be a good person,
Yeah.
and but
I
like you
I
learn.
I turned out to be everybody's go-to person. But when I needed somebody,
that,
then
Nobody was there.
no, because take me and Clue. We've been dating now for ages and ages, and I like I said, I'm an outful person. If I can do anything for anybody, I will. And I had so many people say, when you go to America, let me know and I'll do this for you. I will do that for you, and blah, blah, blah. The moment I booked that flight, it went dead silent. Nobody, not my own brothers, never even offered to take me to the airport. So
wow.
I turned around, and it was nothing to do with Clue. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nothing to do with Clue.
No,
It
but
was
I
because up until that moment, it was just me talking. When I started putting things in action, then it all changed. So I turned around. This was the very first flight I ever took on my own. Never been to the big airports. It was always local ones. So I did it all on my own. I went to the big airport on my own. I organised the taxi, and I paid a lot of money because I thought, I don't need anybody's help. I'll do it on my goddamn own back. So I
and
paid
some
for the taxi, went to that airport, got on that bloody plane, flew to Clue, had a great time, come home, and I didn't have to say thank you to sodding nobody.
but no, I do understand that, because sometimes and I've run into that. People ask me for something, and here's the thing: they expected me to have it. So when I said no, they got upset. And here's the problem: why they expected me to have it, because I gave it to them before. So what happened when the gravy train ran out? They got upset. But when I asked them for something, there's always an excuse. Like, suppose you lend somebody money. Okay, you say, hey, you got to pay me back. They're going to have an excuse about paying you back, but they're also going to have the same excuse or some other excuse about you getting money from them. And this is why you have to be very, very, very hard. Just like shout out to David Varr. I agree with parents have to know their limitations of dealing with their adult children. That's true. And I, yes, you have to love your family. That is absolutely right. But you also have to be aware for some of them too, because remember something. Although they're your blood, they're people. And
Yeah.
let's just be honest, a number of people have agendas. And they might be
Yeah.
using you to fulfill their agenda, and you don't want to be part of that.
Well, it's just like expectations. I think sometimes we have unrealistic expectations of people, and
Absolutely.
people have the unrealistic expectations of us. And you have to think about perspective. Can these people actually do what you need them to do? And then I think what people aren't honest enough about what they can and cannot do. Some people will like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and then they don't come through, and then we get kind of knocked down like we were expecting it. But I think we set ourselves up. We have to lower our expectations of people because that will happen. Life happens and things won't come through. But it is amazing when somebody does get used to you helping them, and then when you actually cannot, how they act erratic,
Oh, they do.
or the way they
Definitely.
act when you decide not to deal with them anymore, how erratic they get. Um,
Well,
yeah. So
I'm gonna use one word to describe all this. It's called solipsism.
what is
And
that?
solipsism means nobody else means anything. You are the only one that means something. It's a word for selfishness. Nobody else is important but you. That's what solipsism is. Matter of
Well,
fact,
I've been looking at stoicism, like being able to live without nothing and be happy within yourself, like because everything is disposable.
yeah, that's
Not
almost
the
like being.
idea of I think we have become consumers as people,
Oh yeah,
and these materialistic things have made it unrealistic in what we actually need, like being able to just be happy with clothes, food, shelter. A lot of people say that's not enough, but is it? It's
well,
really all we need.
to
I
tell
think
you the
there are a
truth.
lot of. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Jenny. Go
I
ahead,
was going to
Jenny.
say there will always be givers and there will always be takers.
Oh yeah, but I do believe that with a lot of this materialism going on, it's just you have some people, in my humble opinion, that they're trying to live this social status that they really can't live. I mean, why do you think individuals are working harder and longer? Because they're paying for a house with all the space that they don't need. They're paying for cars that they can't afford. They're paying for all these clothes, all these high priced schools to impress who? To be to impress other people so they can get into the group with other people. That
Yeah, they're
mom
chasing the Joneses. They're trying to be the Joneses, man.
That's it. Yeah,
Like the idea of the
keeping up with the
Joneses.
Joneses. Yeah.
Yeah, like what I mean by like stoicism is like when you realize, like my grandpa he took me out camping one day, and I had to learn how to like appreciate, like when you strip a child of everything and then you teach that child to appreciate everything. I think because we're giving the kids so much these days with the electronics, the social media, I think social media needs to have an age like requirement. It shouldn't be like the most of the social media is like 12, 13 years old, but what is on social media is really, they need to be older.
right.
um
Hmm.
and they should be required to be a certain age. But yeah, because like the more I've been doing TikTok and YouTube and everything, and trying to teach my kids how to deal with what they're going to be interacting with when they get older, I find that it's like it's people are nasty
Right. And
for one.
speaking of kids, my poll question I put out today, and I apologize about the spelling here, but if your children move out of their parents' house, it should be once. I forgot the C, so it looks like it's the word one. Once they reach 25. Now I put exceptions because there are special needs. So out of 32 votes that I have right now, 75% said yes, and 25% said No. And the link is up. If anybody else wants to come in the link,
Well,
um,
I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're a pretty level-headed man.
well,
I
thank
like
you.
listening to you. You got a good point of view. You like to get people critically thinking. See, I like that. You make my little brain, the little wheels start to turn.
Hey, well,
So,
you know what? We got some more. And like I said, we're going to, me and Teapot, instead of talking about women all day, some people talk about, and that's good if they want to talk. We need to talk about the behavior. Our side talk about the behavioral issues. And shout out to Clue again. Is this a Linwood inspired poll? No, it's not a Linwood inspired poll, but 40 years old, living at home.
Clue's got jokes.
Yeah,
Clue's got
Clue's
jokes.
got jokes tonight, but that you know that does come to mind when you're 40 years old and you're living at home. I need to know why. Okay, I mean it
Well,
used to be
there is situations like if your parents get sick, you go back
right.
and you take
Well, that's
care
the
of them.
exception. That's the
But
exception.
that's exceptions. But if you're just living there and have never left the nest, then there is some kind of learning gap that went on in that person's life,
Right.
and that's just going to weigh down society because they will not be able to hold their own after the parent does pass.
No, they won't. And I'm going to keep on doing shows like this and along with Teapot because it's something that we got to talk about here because now don't get me wrong, I am not against family. I come from a family, but family is supposed to create a structure for children. It's not supposed to create a structure of dysfunctionality. And what we have is dysfunction because the roles are just discombobulated. Okay. When you have parents trying to be friends with their children and they become permissive by letting their children be on the same level that they are without giving children any real responsibilities. I do have an issue with that. And this is why you have the
Well,
children living at home and these children won't go away. Now, I can understand, okay, Jenny V, I'm talking about here in America. Over there in your country, it's a little different over there,
I
but
was gonna say,
here in
when
America,
yeah,
it,
when the children leave here, they don't
they
come
don't
back.
come back.
No,
but
they
here they
don't.
come,
Well,
here they
that
come
must be
back.
nice. That must be
So
nice, Jenny.
although they stay here longer to start with, once they go, it's very
They're-
rare for any of them to come back. I had six brothers. Once they left home, they never came back home to stay.
Something else I forgot to say. Even if children leave, they may move down the block, and they still may come to your house every day for something. They still
get
may,
your
they
get
still
your
may call
crumpets.
you with
What do y'all have
something. Yeah,
crumpets?
yeah. Well,
So
yeah. They may come over and get some food because they don't want to buy food. They may want to use your wash machine. It
bring
does
the
happen.
laundry.
Yeah, it does. It does happen. They may want to do that. That's how
Well,
children are.
I'm going
But
to
is it?
own up to this. I've been taking my laundry over to my mum. She only lives down the road because my washing machine broke. So I
Well,
will
I mean,
hold up my hand to that.
yeah. Now my dad, if I presented that same comment to my dad, he would have a fit. He said, "Your," I know what he would say. He said, "Your your dryer, your washing machine is not fixed, and you've been coming over here for a week using up my power. Why don't you get the thing fixed?" Oh, my dad's 82 years old. Now I would still get that, and I don't mind getting that because um, being an adult, you have responsibilities. And one thing that some of these kids don't want to, the reason why they don't want to leave home, see, they want the privilege or the benefits of an adult, but they don't want the responsibilities of an adult. No, they
Well,
want to keep that.
I think your points is that tradition, like the old traditions of the family, like what we used to see, doesn't need to die out. Like the
No,
parent making the kids responsible, leaving the nest, and not abusing the family is what we need to promote as people. The traditional family, and we've got away from that. This new age stuff that's going on is not sustainable. It's not. It has no responsibility. It's pushing, and it's being kids are being enabled and not showing how to be able, and it's making the society unstable. So
Right.
yeah, I think these are the important, tough conversations. I know you keep emphasizing we're not talking. I'm not against family, but these are the conversations that need to be talked
Right.
about
Right.
so people can know the difference on what is healthy and unhealthy in our society. And we need to actually have those tough conversations. But I appreciate letting me come up 411.
All right.
It's always a good time when I have a conversation with you. Um,
All right. Well, I
well, you
read
have a
you up.
good night.
Don't be a
I'll
stranger.
keep checking you out now. I'll keep my
All
eye
right.
on your channel, and I'll be
All right.
putting your channel in my list and a few other channels. It's good channels to check out. That's what I put the list as. And if anybody else wants to be on there,
And I know
I can
Tommy
only
Jean, she
link
puts
up.
my channel out too. And Tommy Jean will put, you know,
Well, I
and
can only put like a video on there, but it's to
oh yeah,
link
yeah.
people to the channel.
Oh
So
yeah.
I just hope people actually take time to. We need to start doing playlists. That way we can network and
Right.
get everybody out there. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you. You have a
All
good
right.
Bye,
night.
Alice.
All
Nice
right.
seeing you, Jenny from England.
All right. Hey, it's 3:13 over there.
I
2:13 in
know,
there.
I've got to get to sleep. I've got to
Wow.
be up early in the morning.
All right.
Bye.
Well, all right. Well,
So I
I
too
think
will drop out now as well.
okay, and I thank you both for coming up. We got more topics come up, and definitely everybody, Teapot's up. Check out what Teapot is doing. See what he's going to be talking about on his channel. He's got some good information, and I thank Teapot. I thank Brother Mel. I thank Brother Matt. I thank Brother Guy King. All the chats, and I'm going to talk for a little longer because when it comes to family, again, I believe in the traditional way families used to do things. Oh, this is the man I want to see. What's going on, Brother Trey?
Hey, what's going on, man? What it do?
Man, good to have you up, brother. Good to have you up, brother.
Yeah, man. Crazy topic. Me and the wife, we've been listening while we was in Home Depot listening.
Oh, you at Home Depot?
Yeah, man.
Hey, but brother, we got to talk about this, particularly. Let me throw it out there. I like the gulag, that manosphere shit. Let's throw that out the window because they're too black for me. Let's just be honest, brother. The real conservatism, nah. I mean, brother Nate,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, shout out to Jenny V. Shout out to Al. Shout out to brother Trey, who's taking the reins. But yeah, what do you got to say about grown children living at home? I mean, you don't have any living with you, do you?
Oh, well, nah, dude. My 20-year-old, but she's home from college.
But let me ask you something about that, okay? What if your 20-year-old continued to go to college and she never graduated from college and she never had a job? And
Oh,
this is years down the road and she's now 30 and still at home.
no, that's ridiculous, man. And like when my other daughter came to stay with me, man, it was just, because, she had some medical issues going on. And, man, as soon as she, linked up with her husband, it was out.
That's all I'm saying. We are the only, and we're mammals, okay? We're the only living beings that when our youngins go, they somehow find their way back. And to me,
And I look at it like this. If they're, 30 and under, I mean, really, to me, well, there, you got a couple weeks to get your stuff together. You about to play by these rules, and then you got to go. It's what it is. But girls, I look at it like this: you got till 28. You daggone better stay thin, act right, and daggone get you a man. Daggone don't be out here wilding down these streets, and daggone find you a respectable man, and
yeah,
then get out.
see, that's another thing too that's happening, brother Trey. Some of these girls are going out there getting shot up, by some dumbass niggas out there, and they're living at home. Now they're bringing their offspring into the house, and now they're disrupting my peace. That's a problem. And is it our fault that they're running amok? No. Uh, One of the things that I have said is social media has created a lot of these beasts out here. And I heard you the other day, bro. While you're on here, you were on Teapot's channel with some lady. I forgot her name, but God darn, you were
Oh
going.
man,
What the
bro. I
heck?
mean, man, it's like this, man. It all started over in SKC, and you know me, man.
No,
I
you
have no
Dre.
issue. I have no issue with the sisters or whatever. I don't deal with 91 percenters. I just don't.
Right.
And me and Miss Alice were up there, and she rubbed me the wrong way. And Alice was like, "Look, hey, girl, he's just, that's just what's wrong." Snapped on Alice, and then I'm like, "Yo, what the heck is wrong? You snapped on me," and I let loose.
You went
I
straight
let
hood.
loose. Then like I got
Yeah,
off. Yeah. So then come up on I don't know, the brother Prophet of Thought. I mean, brother Xavier.
yeah.
And I don't know why daggone, they coming at me. I'm like, woman, you made a 3 whole hit videos on me with some voodoo stuff, tagging me in the video. Oh, I don't know why y'all coming at me. I'm like, could you please take some personal responsibility? I ain't do nothing to y'all. Okay, boom, that was it. I let loose. I couldn't even like control myself at that point. And it's what bothers me about the community and 91 percenters. This whole
Yeah.
lack of personal responsibility and accountability, which is, it's like, look, don't try to include me in your blackness, your black community, black anything. What was black to us growing up is gone. It's long gone. We are the way of the dodo bird. The black men who came from those base neighborhoods where everybody had a strong black father running around and everybody was about that life. That doesn't exist anymore.
Well,
We are a dying breed. So this new group of people that are calling themselves the black community, no, I don't know what y'all are, but don't try to include me with you.
yeah. Well, brother Trey. I mean, I'm just going to say this, and I don't care who's listening. There is no such thing as the black community. It's dead. It's been it.
Nah,
Look, I mean, to me, a community, or you all say the community, is functioning economically where the money is turning over within our community. Well, it's not turning over. Where are we going to buy all of our goods and services? We're going out of the community. And some of us, when we go buy some goods, we'll store it at our house and come back and it's not there because somebody's taking it from us as well. Somebody's putting a gun to our head too, like in Chicago, some of these other cities. Let's just be honest, brother. There is. That's why I don't get up here and say community because we don't have a community.
It's a quarter
We don't.
mile.
yeah, I don't like, I was picking with Alice in the chat, talking about black community and white community. I'm like, what the heck is a white community? Am I white now? Because that's surely where I live at, around white folks. But I can't with these folks, man. Like you
It's
said, the money turns around. Oh, can you still hear me?
yeah, yeah. I can still
Okay,
hear
yeah,
you.
okay. The money doesn't turn over, bro, because there is no money to turn over based on skin color. Now, if we were in a foreign country and we all had to link up, based on being American and a bunch of us American brothers got together and we're like, hey, let's do this. We living in foreign country A. Yeah, that's a community right there. But I tell anybody, you go to a foreign country, I guarantee you're not just going to link up with the brothers. All Americans are going to come together.
Even Sigma Black, this comment, even the gay community is more relevant than the black community. God darn.
Because they got something to revolve around. As a community, you have to have something, to be centered around. And for the longest time, the black community was centered around, segregation. We shall overcome. That was the linchpin of the community. But unfortunately, that gets played out, man. The matriarchy came,
Yeah.
and you can't really, why these women don't want us. Man, women don't want victims, man.
Oh, that's
Integration
true.
integration came, and y'all still sitting up there, oh man, the white man, oh, but slavery. and you wondering why your woman don't like you. She wants a winner. You know what I'm saying? She wants the slave owner, not the slave, bruh. You better rock that Anthony Johnson, not that Kunta Kinte.
If she wants a winner, not a chicken dinner. Computer Robot says the pattern the baby boomers used to shake their booties. The Gen Xers used to shake their booties. The millennials used to shake their booties. And now Gen Z men and women are now shaking their booties. Well, everybody's shaking their booty because of social media and what we see on TV and what we're listening to on the radio. And we got to, Trey, I don't say the public school system anymore. I call it the public fool system because that's part of it too. Now, going back to the gay community, they also got involved politically. Do you think we get involved politically as black people? All we do is vote. And what
Nah,
do we
man.
vote for? More government.
Yeah, there's no nothing to revolve around as far as black folks, man. Nobody politically can do anything for you just based on your skin color. That's racism in itself. It'll never happen.
Now,
And they try to compare themselves to Hispanics. Hispanics aren't a monolith. Hispanic people like Cubans. Cubans vote for themselves because they're Cuban. They have something to revolve around. They're Cuban. There's a dictator. Well, I don't know whoever took over now, but that's who's down there now. So they have that to revolve around their homeland. My wife people, Dominican, they revolve around being Dominican, where they're from, their culture. And like I tell folks, black folks, y'all are American. Y'all were here first. No African, and y'all been here for freaking over 20 generations, 30 generations. Anything beyond 100 years ago, history-wise, is might as well be made up. There's nothing to track. So as far as most of these black folks are concerned, y'all are American. Get out my face with that African stuff. There's nothing African about y'all. So
and that's a point because you have so many of them. Well, I want to go on over to Africa. Well, have you ever been? Look, I've been over there. Okay, I remember when I was in the Navy when we went there we went to Cairo, Egypt. I got a chance to ride on the camel over there, them slimy things, but it's dirty as hell over there in Cairo, Egypt, bro. And you were in the military. You've been in some of these countries. Would you live in some of these countries?
no, man. I mean, only like even shoot, man. Honduras was rough, man.
Raggedy too.
Yeah, Honduras was rough, man. Afghanistan, like, man. I mean, these countries, man. I mean, Costa Rica was okay till you got off the main roads. Korea looks great till you get off the main roads. You go on some of that, man. Korea is ghetto.
Didn't get a chance to go. So you went over to what we call the West Pack. See, I was over there. Okay, Europe was all right, and then when you started going to the eastern part of the Mediterranean, I hit Turkey and all those other places. Then everything started getting poor, except for Israel. And what is the other one? You may have been there, Dubai. Well, Dubai wasn't even there then. It was.
I didn't do that one, man. I just the whole Kuwait hot as hell.
Oh, yeah, it was hot as hell over there. Well, I didn't get a chance to go over there, but see, I think too, a number of black people, they've never traveled. That's why they will have a hard time having this type of conversation we're having. See, I've traveled, and and thank you for your service, brother Trey. I was in the military myself, and anybody who's in the military is going to understand. And they should be even more patriotic about this country because some of those other countries are shitholes. I mean, and if you don't believe me, watch The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
Oh, have you ever watched that?
Oh yeah, man. Me and my ex-wife auditioned for it.
Oh yeah, well, Tommy Jean got me into that. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm like, wow, man.
My son said with my ex-wife, that'd be the highest rated show ever. Every other word would be like bleep, bleep, y'all mother, bleep. Man, but man.
Latin Patriot says some people are special and touched in the head. And again, shout out to brother Free Zone Lou. Check his channel out. And going from brother Lou to brother Clue. When I'm president, vets will be excused from paying taxes for life. Oh, that would be nice.
Salute. Hey, man, but I got to get up out of here, man. We about to go in here this piece of joint, grab some grub. I don't want try and go ahead and grab a salad, maybe.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Hey, let me know when you're streaming, man, because it's kind of hard to find you guys. I know.
No doubt, man.
Keep like the scissors, I keep clipping us off, but That's
Well,
okay.
I'm biding my time, man. I'm trying to go easy. Everything I put on members only after I stream because I got 2 strikes, so
Oh
I
shit.
can't really rock the boat right now.
Oh, okay, okay. But always be free to come over here. And I haven't gotten any strikes yet, so come on
All
over here.
right, no
All
doubt.
right,
Appreciate it, man. You take it easy, man.
all right. Peace, my brother.
One.
And again, shout out to everybody in the panel. Shout out to Free Zone Lou, the Lou Connection. But again, as I talked about with tonight's topic, dealing with family, having grown kids living at home. I mean, it's it's not a new phenomenon, but it's something that is going to continuously occur because I'm just going to say the way this country is being run, we've got the wrong people in power who aren't leaders, they're celebrities, and they're socially awkward. And at the end of the day, they don't understand how the real world works. And if you're going to be any type of leader, even in your household, you have to be accountable and responsible for all of your actions. Many of us want to feel like victims when we're caught up. Hey, look, the truth is always going to set you free. The truth hurts. This is what my dad preached to me. If I'm screwing up, I need to get up and improve myself. Uh, just being magical telling me that everything is going to float to your boat, that's not going to cut it because in actuality, that's false. Okay. See, I love this country because I was born here and I served it. But there are a lot of things in this country that have been, and it's not the country, it's the people. Number of individuals in power have basically preached deceit. And they've preached deceit because they don't want anybody else to have any type of power. They want all the power. And this is why a number of them continue to run for office. And you have a lot of incumbents. The Clue channel says, shout out to the heroes of the movie Armageddon. They said if they'd save the world, they ain't ever paying taxes. Well, fantastic. I wish I didn't have to pay taxes. But again, everything has been deteriorated, particularly after the Rona. I mean, free speech is really going down the drain. In fact, it just looks like we live in a one-sided type of country here, where the left gets to say everything, while everybody who's on the right and believes in traditional values and morals and structure, they're silenced. Now, is structure basically a threat to chaos? Well, yes, it is, because with structure, there's boundaries. See, in real life, you can't do everything you want to do. You can't without some consequences. And this is what not only being under the guise of a good family, but being under individuals who have come from good families and they haven't let, I call them, if you looked at my video last week, 5 poisons of society right now. And I'm going to tell them to you right now. Number one, it's religion. Churches are dead. They're all about money. Christianity, it's all man made. All these holidays that we're celebrating, they're all pagan holidays. Your universities, and I know I went to one, they've been dead since the liberals took over the university system way back in the 60s because they opted out of going to the military. But yet, they wanted to bring their socialist, their Marxist, their feminist ideas into the forefront. So they got their little PhDs and now they're in power. And what have they done? They've basically taken this country and turned it upside down. People like Cloward and Pivens, Saul Alinsky, people like Bill Ayers. So your education system that includes your University system, they're horrible. Your government is horrible. They're not doing what they are supposed to do. Your mainstream media is horrible because what the mainstream media has done, they've gotten the low information people, put them at the forefront because the low information people who don't do any type of reading or look at anything from a common sense perspective only view everything from an emotional standpoint. Furthermore, they're extremely gullible. And what about your job? Some of you go to jobs out here, there's a lot of backstabbing on jobs, starting with HR. And Brother Clue says if you're married, your spouse is covered as long as you don't divorce. Well, Brother Clue, that's true, but your spouse is going, well, your spouse who will become your ex-spouse, if you have the resources, will also be covered for life, depending on what state you live in as well. But again, in long run, you have to look at what's going on around you. You cannot be gullible. And one thing I will tell you about being an adult, you're going to be filled with challenges every day. This is not any has nothing to do with race. It's just how the world is. You have some good people and you have some evil people out here. It's up to you to determine where you want to go. And you have to continually vet people. And this is what families should be teaching their children. You know, it's okay to be on your side, be on the children's side when they do right. When they do wrong, you're still on their side, but you correct them. Now, children are going to make mistakes when they get out in the real world. It happens to all of us. I've made mistakes. I'm 57 and I still make mistakes. In fact, if you're not continuously trying to learn, you're never going to grow. So that means if you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that old dog is no longer useful. You throw it out because, as we say, death is part of life. Growing is also part of life. Now, we will never know everything because of our short time here on earth, but get as much knowledge as you can. Use your common sense. Okay. And when it comes to sending your kids to these colleges and universities, and before I get to that point, parents, stop living through your kids. Okay. Your job is to sacrifice. It's not about you anymore. When your kids grow, then it is about you. But if you want it to be about you, you can't have them living in your house past 25 because you're not going to have any type of privacy. And, you know, when I did my dating rules, I mentioned that if a woman has got grown kids living with her at home, that's not one for you to date. If she has dogs and cats, any type of chaos, you don't want to be around that person. You don't want to deal with individuals that come from dysfunction slash chaos. Why? Because those types of people are going to disrupt your life if you let them. They're going to be constant problems. Why? Because they're immune to chaos. It's like a smoker. If you're not a smoker and you tell a smoker that that smoke stinks and they get upset and they tell you, well, that smoke, oh, no, it doesn't stink. Well, that's because they're immune to that smoke. You're not. And this is where the solipsism begins because wanting to be right all the time, even when you're wrong, that doesn't play well because you're going to end up being exposed. And one thing I will tell you, in the end, we're not always going to be right. You know, part of being an adult is you got to accept that you're going to be wrong, whether you like to hear it or not. You know, and during my life, I've done some crazy things that I regret. I wish I could take back. I can't. But what I can do is not do them again. And part of education is getting out here in the real world and actually looking at what's going on around you, not the social media world. See, the problem is a number of us can get here on social media and we can make ourselves out to be something that we're not. That's why on my other channel, the QCIS channel, what I do on that channel, I go out there and I show you exactly what I do. And I work in the construction field and it's dirty out there. Yes, I do inspections out there. However, I'm not afraid or I'm not ashamed to do blue collar work. I have degrees too, just like your PhDs. I don't have a PhD, but I still have education. And again, when it comes to education, your education is in the real world. If you can't apply what you learn in school to the real world, then you're only book smart. Real application to education is understanding how the real world works. Yes, when I talk about a college degree, it's a minimum for you to get a job. But you're making someone else rich. And see, here's another thing I need to talk about when it comes to parents as well. Many parents want their children to go to school. But if their children don't want to go to school, and I'm talking about college, but if their children want to go get a blue collar job, some of the parents don't want it because some of the parents have this belief that, well, hey, we went to school and they want to keep the status going. Well, it shouldn't be about status. And if you're trying to impress your friends as parents by bragging that your kid has this degree and that degree to your friends out there, these individuals really aren't your friends. Okay, you have to be careful with who you interact with. These individuals out there, for the most part, are associates because a real friend is going to understand what you are going through. They're going to be understanding. They're not going to be selfish. And one thing that is missing is the hierarchy: God, man, woman, and child. And when it comes to kids, kids are extremely selfish. But that also starts from the step above the kids, the mother. She's extremely selfish. And see, generally, the kids and mothers don't have any type of structure. And the reason why they don't have any types of structure, it's because society has allowed them to be victims of circumstance, even if that circumstance is something that they did not create. And I'm talking about, let's go back to affirmative action. Affirmative action, for the most part, didn't benefit black men, it benefited white women. And of course, black women can get in on the affirmative action as well because they're a double minority. And again, part of the problem that we have with families here in America is that too many people believe in government. Let me tell you this about government. Government is not your friend. Government is supposed to protect your rights. Government is not supposed to create a lifestyle for you. But you have so many people out here who are dependent on government. This is why individuals don't want to work. When I was a teenager, I wanted to work because working to me was independence. I was able to get some of the items that I wanted. I was able to save money. And at the end of the day, I started to understand that you need finances in order to get credit. You need finances to afford your basics. I didn't say other needs, I call them others. You need the basics in life. And as I was discussing with Alice up there, we were mentioning the environments, the city and the country. The problem with the city is the city has too many conveniences. Number one, if you don't have a car, you can still get around with public transportation. A lot of the grocery stores are pretty much close to one another if you know how to get to them without a car. You have more of your government offices in the cities. You have more of resources in the cities. It's where your big malls are. But in the country, you really have to be self sufficient. I didn't say independent, self sufficient. So, again, when you're not self sufficient, you're not going to make it. And being self sufficient, you're going to have to start off with the scarcity mindset. And what I mean by that is you cannot live above your means. The reasons why a number of us have a lot of debt is because we're not looking at what our resources are. We're not looking at what we really can afford. What we're doing, we're trying to go to work so we can impress other people. And when we keep doing that, we end up on the short end of the stick. Again, we only live one time. And what I'm doing is giving you this insight that without applying common sense, many individuals aren't going to make it. And common sense to me means you can't believe everything you read. You can't believe everything you see on TV. Don't believe your politicians. Heck, sometimes your family members. It depends on what family members. You can't believe them all the time either. You have to be your own resource. And you can't be gullible. You know, when it comes to maturity, you're going to have to accept that you can't have everything in life. And the reason why you can't have everything in life because they're innovations that haven't even been created yet. But now they're innovations that have been created during your lifetime. But again, when it comes to life, you only live one time. Shout out to Celine. Welcome to the chat. But again, one aspect of family that needs to happen is they need to tell you the truth. They need to tell you that, okay, you failed. They can give you suggestions, but it's up to you to fix the problem. See, part of learning how to be an adult is understanding that there are going to be challenges / competition. How are you going to handle it? There are going to be days where you feel like giving up. Then there are going to be those days where you have the energy to propel. Life is a constant roller coaster. And if you don't believe me, you look at those individuals who are struggling, and you look at those individuals who aren't struggling. Now, the ones who have made it the honest way, struggled to make it. Now, you have some people that were fed a silver spoon. But in the long run, it's up to you as an individual. And what I brought out tonight was there are a number of children out here who shouldn't be living at home. And in the end, I do blame the parents. Because some parents want the children there. Because some parents, basically, they live through their children. A lot of what you see out here, too, is fantasy and deceit. But if you really have ambition and ambition to grow, you also have to be a good listener, and you have to understand that you're not going to be right all the time. You have to be mature. Now, I know myself, I let my emotions get to me a few times. And I paid for it dearly, like when I was coming back from Atlanta. Took the wrong road. Got stuck in Tennessee. Now, it was the grace of God that a pastor got out of church, or a church member got out of church in Cleveland, Tennessee, and helped me and Tommy Jean out. I made the mistake. I was yelling at Tommy Jean. It wasn't her fault. She wasn't driving. I was driving. Problem is, I wasn't listening. And because I wasn't listening, I got us all in trouble. And see, I wanted to be right. And see, I'm one person that's going to get up here. I'm not afraid to say, hey, I was wrong. And what I've learned to do, I still have some ways to go in some areas. Learn to try to be patient. Because when I look at everything, my dad always told me some things are going to come easy to you and some things are going to come hard to you. However, if you give up, you're the loser. And that old saying, winners never quit, quitters never win, I believe that. And I'm going to keep believing that. And whether I'm here on YouTube or in the real world, what I am going to do is be the same person. You see, there are some people who are chameleons out there, and you have to watch them as well. They have the tendency to change. Change for what? Are they scared? Are they trying to impress other people? I don't know. But you have a number of people with agendas out here. And agenda-filled people are dangerous. These are ones who change their minds frequently. They're inconsistent. They're confusing. A number of them will never know where to go. Why? Because they haven't been taught about accountability and responsibility. So what happens? They've been free to roam. Cyber Tyson says, a better mind is filled with knowledge, no sentiment instead, a tragic thing indeed for one to live with heart and hand. Very factual. Again, when it comes to living, you live one time. Maximize your life. But the people that should be the first teachers, be family. And when you don't have family who's teaching you, but they're giving you a spot on their level without teaching you how to get to their level, there's where we have the dysfunction. As a parent, you are not a friend to your children. You are a parent. You need to stop being sister daughters and son husbands. Every race has that dysfunction. And that's why children are confused today as well. See, children don't know any better. It's the adults who know better. And when the adults are putting their stamp on children, you make your children look bad. And what I mean by making them look bad, their behavior is bad. And why is their behavior bad? Because behavior is learned. Children imitate parents. So, in the end, I'm going to say this. As a parent, you need to be grown up. You need to be responsible. You need to understand that you're the one who has to make sacrifices. Now, before I conclude, let's get to the final poll here. Again, the question that I have asked tonight is, should children move out of their parents' house once they reach the age of 25? Exceptions, if the children have special needs. Now, I've had 36 votes. So out of 36 votes, 75% said yes, and 25% said no. And I'm going to keep putting these polls up because I want to know what everybody is thinking. Because it's very crucial to understand where you come from. And you remember this word of wisdom. It's not where you come from. It's where you are currently. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for some educational content, I got that for you as well. You can check out the QCIS channel. And on that channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, some people might be asking me, what's the QCIS channel? The QCIS channel is formerly the Mind of STEM channel. All I did was just change the name. Everything else is the same. Now, on that channel, I perform field operations because I'm a construction inspector. So you'll see me doing some inspections in the field. Then, of course, I'll turn it over to where I show you how to do estimates in Excel, and I'll show you how to do statistics in Excel. Also, you can learn about types of math like calculus, complex numbers, science like biology, engineering like industrial engineering. Now, if you cannot find me on YouTube, I'm talking about both channels, the 401 Talk Zone radio show and the QCIS channel, you can check me out on Twitter. Now, for the QCIS channel, I take it one step further because it's more of a professional and educational channel. If you want more viewing power, you can go see the QCIS channel on LinkedIn. And at the end of the day, I'm going to leave you with this. Be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And of course, individuals that were offended by this topic of family and kids living at home, I did say they were exceptions. I want to tell you this. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. And again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. I will be back here next Wednesday with another hot topic. But till then, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.